Mishuka klewe, kolansi laife. Mi a belle fête Dominique, c'est journée créole. Mi a belle fête Dominique, c'est journée créole. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. Soleil chaud nous ka mêler, nous ka danser. L'applique a tombé, c'est pli nous ka sauter. Jamais nous que dit, à des foules, à des madras, nous que célébrer, mais l'héritage Dominique. Mi a belle fête Dominique, c'est journée créole. Mi a belle fête Dominique, c'est journée créole. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. C'est journée créole, mi a belle fête Dominique, c'est journée créole. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. Oh Lord anniversaire, oh dépendance, merci bon Dieu pour belle te pays nous. À nous réfléchir. Manière nous cachons Dominique, oui, ouest bien, y'a petit pawadi. Mi a belle fête Dominique, c'est journée créole. Mi a belle fête Dominique, c'est journée créole. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo. Luka fe jibiling jabalam bama lawi wazo.
Jilibing and Lawi Wozo. Not so sure. Adams, tonight we have an elite, Aileen, with us.
When you meet the elites, you always want to make sure that you become independent. But we will get there. Cecil,
I like that.
What's the difference between school and life? I will not give you too much problem. In school, you're taught a lesson and then given a test. In life, you're given a test that teaches you a lesson. I think you should take that in. Let me just repeat that again. And Elaine, you should take that in too. What's the difference between school and life? In school, you're taught a lesson and then given a test. In life, you're given a test that teaches you a lesson. That's very, very important.
Yes.
You know, and so we want to talk about that. But just before Aileen comes in, there's something. I saw her old house. I saw the house. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that, Aileen, this is what I have to tell you. The little house is crooked on its pillar trees of wood, and the planks beneath the clapboards are not so very good. Cut from the forest where it stands 100 years or so. But no small things are boring holes and creeping to and fro. And I'll read the final one for you. Dry rot is mingled with the dust which falls on everything. Shutters and doors do not obey the crossbars where they swing. And on the roof the galvanized iron, so wear with rust and faint, is hardly held together by shallow skin or paint. I'll just leave that.
You're Shakespeare, man.
Tonight
you decided to be Shakespeare?
Well, I know. I visit her house. I see it. I travel there all the time, and I saw the Burton's house. In fact, so when the rain like bucket shot beats upon it, not in vain, it enters in and wide grows the lines and maps of stain upon the ceiling where the drips select with evil joy something of value so much loved or easy to destroy.
Well, you know
I
what,
believe that.
You know what I've done? I've just shown, and the audience is actually looking onto the house of Aileen. many moons ago, not the present one that we see.
Which I just described.
Yes, which you just described. This one that I think the best person to really help us to have a greater understanding is Aileen. Good evening to you, Aileen. Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. You hear me?
No,
Oh, you're not hearing me.
I'm not hearing you well.
Oh, you're not hearing me well.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's fine. My technician is here, so I'm sure he is going to assist you right away to ensure that you are hearing me and hearing me better.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So you heard what Adams
Could you just repeat the question?
Oh, no,
The poems are beautiful.
no, you heard Adam's description of your home.
Yes. I hope he gives me a copy. Beautiful.
And
I'll give you a copy.
and what I was asking.
Yes.
Did Adams did justice to your home?
Yes,
in
I think you
description?
described it very well.
Okay.
Well done, Mr. Adams. Thank you.
I think earlier on when you came in, you challenged Mr. Adams in reference to independence. Mr. Adams, in reference to independence, I think you were saying that Dominica is an independent state, and Aileen was saying that she would like to challenge
But
you.
I'll leave at some point in time. When we reach there, we will get into
No,
it.
you can.
We are thinking of the word independent.
Yes.
That's the word we are going to dissect
Okay. So I think
in all aspects.
Adams, let me give you the beginning of the program in reference to looking at the word independence in all aspects.
Well, we are independent, and I'm an independent individual.
Uh-huh.
Right? And the word independent means when you depend on yourself. Of course, you need other persons to work with you in terms of the community. To be truly independent, the community has to work with you, and you work with the community. So it's what I call a symbiotic relation. But you try to be able to do things for yourself, which makes you independent.
Before you continue, Aileen, I just want to say
Yes.
a number of people are already on Facebook Live. We have Julietta Dover. She says good evening. Ivona Hill said good evening. She's in St. Croix. A good friend of yours, Lauren Benoit. She
Ooh,
said-
Lauren, yes.
Yes, she
My
said,
little
"Hi,
sister."
Good night, Aileen. I am I'm number 5 of the 4 sisters.
Yes, that's right.
You just said that. You
That's
know?
right, yes.
She said she's number 4.
Oh,
of the
little
4.
sister.
Yes. Yolande Kepper is also watching. Tina Bell is always on. Good evening to you, Tina.
That's my neighbor. Used to be my neighbor.
It used to be a neighbor.
Mhm.
I think she said that sometime in her program when she was
Yes.
the last time.
Yes.
Also to Martina Royer. Good evening, gentlemen and guests watching from New York. And so quite a number of people are on. And Tina said, hi, Aileen, after you.
Hi, Tina. Lovely
So quite a number
that
of
you're
people-
joining us. I
quite
hope
a
you
number of
interact with us.
She will.
Looking forward to that.
She will. I can guarantee you she will. So yes, Aileen,
Yeah.
I want you to respond to Mr. Adams.
About independence.
Yes.
Well, I totally agree with him. And I want to just start with this Creole saying. Un chien ni quatre pattes, mais il pas fouti fait quatre chimées. Which means, exactly what he's saying, we all depend on each other. So the dog has 4 legs, but he can't go in 4 directions one time. He has to, something has to lead. So you have a leader, and then you have the helpers. The leader needs to, and I'm not talking in any sense political. I am speaking in the sense that anybody can be a leader, but they need followers to help. And this, I think, is what Mr. Adams is saying. You have somebody who leads, but the person can't do it alone, so they need help. And the individuals who need to help him are the citizens. And they need to have some critical thinking, independent thinking, knowing what is good, what is bad, what should be done, and what should not be done. And this is the independence I want to talk about.
Wow. Independent and critical thinkers.
Well, the thing about it, Cecil, to be truly independent, you have to have a level of your own thinking, your own thought.
Yes.
You should not be stifled about your ideas. You should be able to express them. It's not every time people agree with you. But to be really a critical thinker, you have to agree to disagree. Sometimes you have to disagree with the leader. The person may not like it, but it's in their own interest. What I find is that many persons just like to go and tell their leader everything is okay because they want to get things from the leader. They want to be close to the leader. We call that, they want to be close to the spider web. In management, we call that, close to the spider. But it's very good when you're close to the spider to always let the spider know that you're thinking of its own interests as well. So you do some critical thinking. You don't have to agree with the person. There are certain times where your ideas need to differ to help leadership to focus, more critically on what is being done. And I think that I share your views, Elaine. You have to be an independent thinker. You don't always have to agree with me. I don't always have to agree with you, but we still love each other.
And already, Aileen, you have some 80 followers on your program. Thus
lovely.
Far. Yeah, 80 persons actually.
So we should have some good interaction
so we're going
tonight.
to be having a lot of interaction tonight on this Lakou program. Now, Aileen, I'm very happy that I could have you here. For many reasons for me, I'm really excited. As a boy growing up, my mom actually worked for your family. And your family is my family, according to my mom.
Yes.
My mom always reminds us at home that the Burton family is your family. As to how she came to that, I cannot tell you. But I want to say thank you for allowing me to be part of your family.
but Cecil,
honestly, Cecil is not, and this is what I think I like about you very much, is that you are very honest. You are not, you're very confident. And you're not afraid to say that your mother helped us at home.
No.
She was a lovely person. And as I was telling you earlier on, even my little niece, when she was small, she didn't like how they were combing her hair. And when they said, but how do you want us to comb your hair? Comb it like Juif. I want it like Juif. So even from that small age, Judith made an impression. She was a lovely person, lovely to work with. I mean, what...
And that's why I feel it was important to have a person like you to talk about your Lakou.
Yes.
Your Lakou is of great importance because I remembered being sales and marketing manager and I had an office on Independence Street, which was formerly known as Queen Mary Street for those persons who are still wondering.
Yeah.
And it is adjacent, the building is still adjacent to your mom and your dad's home or your family home. And my first day of working that office, I saw a window on the northern side of the building. And I immediately took a peep and I went into tears. And it just reminded me of
young days,
my boyhood days where my mom had to work, to ensure that her 7 children and family would survive.
Yes.
And I want to say on radio that I'm thankful for that, Aileen, that your family took my mom in, trusted her, and allow her to do what she could have done best, to wash, to iron, and to cook.
And to cook.
And to help in bringing up
of course,
the Burton's children.
We learned a lot from Judith. We enjoyed her meals, her saltfish with coconut milk and her Christophine and her stewed chicken. I got a lot of hints from her on how to cook.
I can imagine,
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And Judith worked with her heart. She worked with her heart. I was telling you, I came home one afternoon, and the drawing room was completely turned around. So that, she's not just working mechanically, but she's working with her hands, her heart.
Yes.
Judith, do you remember that? I'm sure you're listening.
Yes, she is listening.
Mrs. Mann.
Well, her sister, which we call Mrs. Harris, we had a name for her. at the grammar school.
Really?
Murder, She Wrote.
Mm,
We call her Murder, She Wrote.
really?
She was our history teacher and also economics teacher.
And no geography too?
And also geography.
Yes.
But she was very strange because at that time, very elite, very, very neat. Every teacher had a nickname. Her nickname was Murder, She Wrote.
Why?
Tell us.
Because she was very strict.
Wow.
Speaks good English, very firm with us when it came to our lessons, our homework. So she is married to Harris, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they live in Kenville.
Okay, right.
So she was my teacher for many years.
Okay. Now, Aileen, let's go into business.
Yeah.
Give us a good understanding of your family, to start with your mom and your dad.
I am blessed to have been born with my parents from part of. Okay, let me put it again a different way. I am blessed that God chose those parents for me. Or, as some people say, I chose to be born to those parents, because they say that when you're already up there, you can choose to go back. So I chose those parents, and I'm very happy about that. I feel blessed. Daddy was brought up by his grandmother and his aunt in that same little house you just saw in Cock Street, Queen Mary Street. And he was the only one in the house. He was the only child in the house. So he was kind of pampered. And with two ladies, his aunt and his grandmother, and of course his grandfather until he died. And Daddy grew up to be a man. When going to school, he used to be teased. They would call him Piok because he had to go home for afternoon, whereas the other boys stayed to play. But he had to go home for afternoon because then he was empty and he had to, he was used to having afternoon. But then he grew up to be a versatile sportsman. He loved all sports. I think he's in the Hall of Fame for sports because he was president of the Rifle Club, Dominican Rifle Club, for many years. He played tennis, he played football, he played cricket, and this time I remember going to the gardens to watch him play cricket. He did boxing. I don't know whether he actually boxed, but I know he refereed for boxing. And I remember at his funeral, this one gentleman came with a pair of boxing gloves around his neck, and that honestly, that brought tears to my eyes because it came from his heart. He just wore his boxing gloves. Daddy was a very good tennis player at the time, and I often wonder, had he had the opportunity of going further, whether he would have been Wimbledon, he would have won a cup, because he won several cups in Dominica, and even 1 year, the couple won all the cups. Mommy was women's singles champion. They won mixed doubles. Daddy was male champion. And there were a few more cups. I can't remember. But they won all the cups that year. And but it was lovely to watch him on the court. And he had, I should have brought that poem, but I didn't think about it. But he is one of two people that I loved watching because of the art, the style, and the accuracy. And I will tell you the other person that I feel about just the same way is Jean Dixon. When Jean Dixon played netball, it was like a ballet on the court. When she would spin wrong, catch her ball, spin wrong, and shoot, and it would just go into the basket. And this is what I love to watch with sports people. They must have a certain art, an attraction, and accuracy. So that was my father. He worked with government, and he was the permanent secretary of communication and works. That's the time I really remember him. And he would take us, although he didn't have very much of his father's presence in his life. When he got married, he took his role very seriously. And when he died, we realized that he read a lot of books on bringing up children and being a good husband. And I wonder to myself, how many men do that these days? Yes, we have the internet, and I hope a lot of husbands and wives do look up and read. Daddy did a lot of reading because he wanted to. He took his role seriously, and he wanted to bring us up as good citizens. He taught us. They both taught us to love our island, to love Dominica, and to do things for the betterment of the country. Finance was not a major role in our lives because, I mean, you work with government in those days and the salary wasn't that much, and he had 4 girls. But we tried to do things to, he tried to do things to help. He had an apiary, and all 4 daughters used to go down with mommy, smoking the bees, helping to extract honey, turning that big drum to extract the honey, getting bitten by bees, and not stopping, not giving up. You know, we were always there with him. He also had a little country seat in Castle-Bruce area, Bois Diable, and it was a little bit difficult. He grew bananas and grapefruit, some oranges, but up there was very wet, and the oranges and the grapefruits didn't do too well. I mean, this was just more of a hobby for him, but it was nice to be able to bring down some produce once in a while. So, and we all had to be there sawing wood, clearing up the ground, because it was a forest when we got it. So that was nice. So we had a very active childhood. And Daddy died very young. That was a very big shock to us. But as I told you earlier, I don't know what old age would have done to him, because his vision was slightly off and he would not have been able to play tennis. Oh, he also played table tennis. And actually that was in our drawing room, the table tennis board. And one of our cousins-in-law came in and said, "But where's yours drawing room now?" Because that is where the table tennis board was, so he would play with mommy off again. And something else, mommy always was with him. You know, we were always a close-knit family. Mommy came from Lakou. Her father was manager of the Bath Estate plantation, where you have all the houses now. So there was a lime plantation, and mommy's father and Mr. Hudson Francis from Soufrier, they worked together, and they were very instrumental in curing one of the diseases that was common at the time for the lime trees. So mommy had a childhood as well, very exciting childhood, when they would go into the lime fields. Mind you, he was very strict and he would not allow them to pick anything from the estate. He would see to, if he wanted to give them, he would bring it. But he was very strict that these 11 children did not go read in the lime fields. I think they had a bit of cane there too in the gardens. And mommy left home first. She got married to daddy, and after a while they went to live in Barbados. My first sister was almost born in Barbados, but then mommy came back in time. And she was the only one that her father took down the aisle. After that, while she was in Barbados, he died. So mommy was used to a lot of people. And people coming from the that road that leads to the east of the island. What they call it? Chimelita. Yes. She was very used to people coming down. This is how we met the Monell family and other people who are friends up to today. So she had this ability to cope with people. She was called the Peacemaker in the family. Although she was a third daughter, she was a peacemaker. She became a self-taught accountant because she got her first job with the at the El Rose and Company, who owned the lime fields. She got her first job there, and I remember her telling us that she was so scared when she went to borrow $10 to buy something on a catalog. She went to the manager to borrow $10 so she could order something from a catalog. And then after she had Frances, she came from Barbados. She had Frances, and the three of us followed, and she remained at home with us until I went to school. And so she went to work with CDC when I was 4. She worked up her way. She has no certificates, but she worked up her way, and she was chief accountant there. Her employer was very, very impressed. Mommy had a very neat handwriting, very unique handwriting, which I think would tell you about her personality. Very artistic, very calm, very steady, but artful as well. Mommy did embroidery to help the home coffers. She did embroidery for lots of people. Some of them, she never got returns from them, but she did embroidery. She taught us to crochet. She changed her office hours from 1 to 12 so she could be with us at table to check our table manners. Our table was always full. There were never only the 4 girls. We had Laurie, our little sister. We had Paula Blatcher. We had the Monells. We had another little Jolly. The table was always full. So she felt she had to be home to supervise us. So this is one of the things she did. One of the projects she worked on was a Padu project in Trafalgar. And she was highly commended for her very strict accounting, and not a penny was missing. People like Esmond worked with her, Esmond's wife, June, Fatima Jolly worked with her, and everybody has very good things to say about Mommy. She was a lovely person. What more can I say? Our childhood was very exciting. We went walking. Daddy took us to all the lakes. Mommy came with us. And we climbed the mountains. Actually, Frances climbed Mont Diablote when she was 12. And I think that made the papers because at that time, she was the first child of that age to have climbed right up to Mont Diablote. Daddy took us to the Boiling Lake. He was in charge of soldiers when they came on the warships. And I remember him taking a group of them, so he took us with them, and we went to the Boiling Lake. We knew the Berry Lake, the Freshwater Lake, and all what I have discovered about Dominica is through my father.
Now, would you know of any works in reference to public works that your dad would have accomplished while being the permanent secretary in that ministry?
Well, the roads, I would say. I remember in particular the road from Soufriere to Scotshead. He made us walk that road, because he was not supervisor, but he was a permanent secretary, and he oversaw the construction. Another place was Marigot. This is what I remember, but that's in my early childhood, so I don't remember very much. But I remember the Marigot trip too. He took us before the road to the airport was pitched. He took us there, and I remember climbing up that hill. What's the name of that hill by Marigot there?
Monkey Hill, you're talking about?
Yes, I think so. I remember climbing up that hill. Yes, the roads are all over the place. He had to supervise. He had to go visiting with the minister. I think Mr. Liebler was there at the time. Mr. Leslie also, I think, was minister at one point. I remember that he's saying Ravincock area. He had suggested to the minister that a proper infrastructure was built so that people could build houses up there. But the minister did not seem to think it was suitable for people to live. And Grenada, that is how Grenada is built. All the houses are on hills. But he did not really accept that advice. And now I see that this place, I would not want to drive up there. And if it had been properly constructed and proper infrastructure was put in, it would have been a lovely area, a lovely hamlet. So these are the things I remember. Maybe something else might come up, but I
just want to say to you, Aileen,
Yes.
that you have 109 people viewing on Facebook.
Ooh, nice.
And I just want to also say to you, Sandra Norris said that, good evening, gentlemen and Miss Aileen Burton.
Yes.
I have been listening in my car, but now I am home paying close attention
Good.
to your conversation tonight.
Lovely.
So at least someone is paying close attention to
Yes.
what you say.
I
And you
hope-
have
I
given
hope
us
she calls.
some good information. You have given us some good information thus far in reference to your dad and your mom.
Yes.
No, Aileen,
Yes.
you raised in Cock Street.
Yes.
And not in, I'm trying to find out, is it in this house? Did you meet this house?
I was born in this house.
You were born in this house?
Yes. And no, this house, it belonged to my nenen, well, daddy's aunt. That was the family house. And there were 2 bedrooms. So when the children started coming, and we ended up with four girls, and by that time, Nenen was still alive, and of course, her parents would have died. So that is our great-grandmother and father would have died. And so what we had to do, but do you see the window that is open facing us?
Yes.
Okay.
Facing
So this was a little drawing room that we had. And there's the portico. That is what we call that little balcony there, the portico. There's a door open there.
Yes.
That used to lead to the dining room. But what we had to do, well, Daddy had to do, was to cut part of the dining room to make a room for the 4 girls. So we didn't have a dining room as such, but the table was like to the end of the drawing room.
Is it the same door that you have on Cock Street that you can enter into the house?
Yes.
That same door.
That's that same area. Because what Daddy did, he just raised the house.
Ah.
In those days, a lot of people raised houses. And where we have the closed veranda, the house that you know now, we left it open. And we built above.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I understand. And that's for persons who are wondering, that is Cock Street.
Yes. And the railings are still there.
Cock Street, that Independence Street.
Yes.
And the railings are still there.
The railings are still there. These are the original railings, so they are over 100 years old.
Wow.
Then the opening was on Cock Street. And there was a wall going to the Robinsons' house. So there was a complete wall, which you can see.
Where the garage is.
Where the garage is now. And we had a lovely mango tree. And it was called, the mango was called mandivin in Creole. And in French, it is mangue divine. And I think Martinique has that. And if anybody in Dominica has a mango tree that they call mandivin, I would love to get a cut in. So, because I think it grows by, how you call it, maggot? You have to, what is that term they use? You have to graft it.
Okay.
You have to graft it. It doesn't grow from the seed. But it was a delightful mango. Delightful. Even better than mango Julie, the grafted mango. It was really lovely. There was a kind of a burgundy color with little black spots on it. Oh my God. Really, really delicious. But we had to cut it down because we had to extend the house because the family was growing.
No, Aileen.
Yes.
You're a girl. You have 3 other sisters.
Yes.
And you all are growing up.
We are growing up. We are old now.
No, I'm talking about.
We were growing up.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
And there were the Winstons
That's
across
right.
by you.
Yes.
You had the Robinsons on one end.
On one end.
And you had the Winston, your granny.
We had on the Cock Street side. But Granny came down later on. Yes. She came to retire in Dominica.
No, some people would say that was an elite corner. Would you agree?
What do you mean by elite? That's something else. I've never thought of myself in any way but the daughter of D.K. Burton and Ina Burton. I've never thought myself, I don't know, I'm just Dominican and I am a Burton, Aileen Burton. That's how I've never thought of myself in those terms.
Wow.
No, I really haven't.
You have moved up to 122 people now viewing it
Oh,
on Facebook.
nice.
Very nice, Mr. I'm glad for your consciousness. But
Yes.
people at that time would say in the local term, c'est un enfant bourgeois.
Yes, or they label you. But we were never brought up to feel that way. We never.
Do you believe that you was half a bourgeois?
No.
Let's forget about the fact that that you were never
Because
brought up to.
we would think of other people probably as bourgeois, but I never thought of myself. It's from people that you hear those things. Like even at school, you would get those kind of remarks sometimes. Probably look at your hair, where you have what we used to
Kule
say before, nice hair.
And kule wayayay.
What was that one?
Kule wayayay.
Cool. I didn't know that one.
No.
But you get branded because of your color, your surname, and the type of hair that you have. But life is interesting because, as I tell you, I never thought of myself as that because we were disciplined at home. We were not spoiled. We had to do things for ourselves, even though we had help. We still had to do certain things in the house. Like we always polished that long dining room, that drawing room.
But here
We polished it.
Yeah, it was wooden.
Yeah, but
Yes.
but here that Eileen.
Yes.
People in the time would say, "But these are mulattoes, mulattoes."
Well, we probably
They
are
don't-
by definition and they're right. We are what you call métis.
Yes.
And probably not even correctly métis because we are mixed. If my parents are mixed, so you're not even, you would call métis a white person having a child with a black person.
Yes.
So they were métis. So you have two pure bloods mixing. So that's métis. But I think we are more Creole. We have a mixture of bloods. We don't have any one particular blood group that may be dominant, but we have several genes,
And your sister Lauren Benoit,
Yes.
she said to you, Aileen,
Yes.
don't forget Jacko, a big part of our family life.
Who, Polly?
Polly.
Polly?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I was going to come
we used
to
mess-
that.
We used to mess it up.
Well,
It was rude,
Polly was something else. Only Nenen and Daddy could handle Polly. Polly, whenever they would take her out to clean the cage, and we were downstairs, she would open her wings and just start coming at us, and we would run up the steps. She was afraid of Daddy. Daddy controlled her, Nenen did, but she had us under heavy manners, Polly. But I was going to come to that when you spoke about Lakou, because this is the only type of disturbance we used to get as such. When school was finished, when school ended, you would hear the children, Jacko, kilaye, and he would say, Twaze. And but these are the things. These are most of the things I used to hear them. The children troubling him from the gate, and he even learned a lady's name, a lady in the real Lakou, because we are more or less on the periphery. Mabonto. He used to call Mabonto. Do you know Mabonto?
Yes, yes.
Right.
The ladies-
Mabonto. So he must have heard people calling her in the street.
Yes.
And these are the two names I remember. Not two names, one name, and Twaze.
Wow.
Yes.
That reminds me of Mr. John Bully.
Yes,
With Jacko.
right.
And John Bully,
He
Jacko
had
literally
one.
was talking. It was a bright.
John
bright
Bully was a very good friend of my father's. And they played a little bit of tennis together. And I also think he was a member of the Rifle Club. Now, when I talk about being independent, I want to kind of bring that in of one of the aspects of being independent and doing what you think is right, using your initiative, your creativity, and your sense of volunteerism. There was this young fellow who used to be outside Whitchurch. He couldn't walk. So they would bring him there. He would sit down for the whole day. So Daddy loved children, and he had a very soft heart despite his heavy voice and kind of brusque manner. He had a very soft heart. And he and John Bully got some wheels from Matron Dorval at the hospital, and they made him a bicycle that he could pedal with his hands. And so this fellow could move around, but I don't know what happened to him eventually. But I mean, this is when I think, that is when this is what I mean when I talk about independent thinking, critical thinking. You see something that needs to be done, and you do it. And this is what he and John Bully did. Not that they had a lot of money to order, they couldn't order. So Daddy got the wheels from Matron, from an old trolley, and they made this bicycle for the boy that he could use his hands to pedal.
Now, you were talking to us earlier on about the floor, because we were talking about the yard, the Lakou.
Yes.
And I want to know a little bit more of that polishing of that floor, that wooden floor.
Yeah, man, we had to
Help us
polish
to understand
that.
how often you have to do that, the kind of polish that you would be using to ensure that it is shine.
You're sending me back to my hard drive. Somebody could probably, who's listening, Tina, you could probably remember the type of polish we used to get. It was in a round tin, and it was like you had different shades. There was one that was kind of orange, and the other one was dark brown. I don't remember the mark or the brand, but we had this huge tin.
Mm-hmm. Let me
so
tell
you
the brand. We used to call that the Cobra polish.
Cobra.
Cobra, you're right.
Okay,
Right. It was
okay.
called different
it's
shades.
It's have a round
polish.
and
Right.
a cobra head up.
Right.
That's right. And
Yes.
it had a little hook on the side.
Yes.
And you turned it up to
Yes.
open it. Yes, copper polish. So we
polish.
used to do that. We used to polish
You
the
know how I
floor.
know? Ronald Osborne's mother had a floor. And
Yes.
she used to polish that floor.
Oh,
Yeah, because
yes.
you have to make sure that shines at
Yes.
least once a week.
Yes,
shine the floor.
Saturday was the day for that. I had to scrub down the steps. Miriam would have to do something, Paula, Frances. We each had a job to do.
You had to.
Oh, yes.
So all the bourgeois, they think you bourgeois. You have to do everything.
What does bourgeois mean anyway?
I don't know.
Bourgeois means people who live in the bourg, which is what you know, the town area. So we were a little away from the town, so we didn't quite make bourgeois.
You lived away from the tongue, the heart of the tongue. No, Aileen.
Mm-hmm.
Cork Street was the heartbeat of the city.
Oh my goodness.
And you'd hear all types of birds because you were not far from Lagon.
That's another
All right?
story.
You were not far from up the hill where Luga and Tablet used to be sold.
Ma Henry.
Ma Henry. You were not far from Astafans, where you could go and buy whatever you so wish at Astafans. You were not far from Deepex.
That's right.
Where
And Pee-wee's.
And Pee-wee's ice cream.
Pee-wee's ice cream.
You
And they're not only ice cream, but they're milkshakes, they're hamburgers, they're sandwiches. Oh, my goodness.
So we're going to talk about that. So
Right. And she was not far.
So let us talk about...
She was not far from the Eric's Depot.
and not
No,
far from the Eric's
just
Depot.
next door.
So you see a beautiful Lakou?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So you're going
I'm
to tell us
telling
now,
you.
you're going to start about the Beth in
Ha,
Cork Street.
Cork
You
Street.
had the Hilma. You know Hilma very well.
Hilma, yes.
You remember Hilma? For Curtis?
Yes.
And Harry?
Wilma.
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 We used to say Wilma.
Yes, Wilma, yes.
You will
okay.
say Wilma.
Okay.
But we'll say Wilma.
Well, if you want to call me bourgeoisie, Wilma.
So tell us about the Bethy Cork Street that you knew.
Oh, yes. Like Saturday nights, Friday night, Saturday night. It used to start brewing during the week. And now and again, they would just explode. Now, we would hear. Nanette would not allow us to go out and look. But we would hear. And I learned a lot of curse words. And when I hear people just calling the effing, oh my God, it's just so, to me, it's just so basic and crude. These people, when they cursed and they spoke patois and they cursed, that was an art, that was a skill. That was like music to the ear. Not this effing thing, Monja. That's all you hear, effing. But And do you remember Diana? I don't.
Yes, remember
right.
Diana lived on like, Diana lived right
Down
behind
Fields
the
Lane.
downstairs of Fields Lane, right?
Right.
Right. Downstairs of Alan John Baptist and them.
Diana spoke a perfect patois. And she spoke perfect English just as well. Just as well. So when you wanted it, if you troubled her, I'd be sorry for you. You would get your chalet in patois. And when she was with if you want to call it so-called bourgeoisie, she would talk English perfectly. Perfectly. She loved her little rum, unfortunately.
So you would have known, as you said, people, I want to get some of the best that you would have heard out of the curse words, because I'm trying to remember.
No, we can't say those curse words on DBS.
Out of the curse words, what are the best that you would have heard them talking about in Cock Street? Sakipo, kinom, sakipo.
Well, these are the things. And, there were lots of words, some words that were often heard. One was jealousy. The other word was hypocrite. And the other one is taking advantage. So, prend advantage. C'est hypocrite. C'est jalousie. So jaloux moins. Things like that. I remember. I used to love to listen to people, and I used to love to watch, So from the jealousies, you see the jealousies of the old home, the first home we had. We would sit because it was like a little lounging area. So we would sit near the window and we would listen. I mean, I couldn't speak patois at that time, so I couldn't understand. But later we would know that, okay, this one had a boyfriend, this one making brick by that one, and, little things like that. But I think what I learned a lot from is, what I used to like to see was the way the mannerisms, the hand movements, the movements of the hip movements, hands on the hips, sometimes shaking their bottoms to the other person, sometimes even going as far as lifting their clothes. So it was all very dramatic. No business about somebody taking a gun and just shooting. We didn't know that. People fought with words. I mean, there had been little fights, but they mostly fought with words. And this is an African part of the African culture as well. They have war with words, and that is how wars were won long before in the colonial era in Africa. Wars were won with words. How could you embarrass your enemy? How could you belittle him, but with words? But when the colonials came, they had their guns, so the Africans had to retreat to guns. But it was a war of words. How far can you go to insult?
And you were right in the middle of the stadium.
Yes, man.
Where at the back of your home in Cock Street there, you have that Lakou.
Yes.
Of Brother Me and
yes.
Eto. I don't know if you remember Eto.
No, the name doesn't sound too.
Eto, she used to work at Eric's Bakery.
Okay.
The Brother Me, trying to remember the Richards. The Richards.
Yes.
Back,
Annie and them, yes.
Annie. I was trying to get the name of Annie at the back of you. Then you had Mona Piper.
Yes.
Then you had Wilma.
Yes.
Then you had the Pirates.
So and you had a very cultural lady there, Irene Peltier.
Irene. Ma Irene, we used to call her.
Ma Irene, yes.
I would never say Irene Peltier. Ma Irene.
Yes.
And Irene wasn't easy.
Do you know somebody? These people, they really had a Creole culture, and a very interesting one at that. After cricket at the Botanic Gardens, Ma Irene would have people with shak and accordion and things like that coming down the road, little Carnival, and go into her place because she used to sell drinks. And you just have a little band going down the road, and they would go into her home, and she would be selling drinks. There was that. Just so beautiful. It used to be just so beautiful, honestly.
And not far from her as well was our good friend Sparrow Winston.
Oh, yes.
Where they would go there on Carnival Day
That was Carnival.
We're
no?
going to come to Carnival because I'm going to talk quite a lot about Carnival. We're going to reach there.
Yes.
And we have not spoken yet. If I'm talking about just Cock Street.
Right,
We have to
Cock
talk about.
Street.
We have to talk to Aileen about both her school and church days.
Yes.
We have to do that.
Oh yes.
So,
oh yes.
so now you know had, and I'm sure that you remember the prison at the time on Cock Street.
The prison at Cock Street.
Yes.
It was on
Where Karam
Bridge.
is.
Really?
Yeah, where
It
Karam-
extended to that?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't, because actually my father was superintendent of prisons. My grandfather, K.E. Burton, Captain Burton. He was captain of the defense force, and also he was superintendent of the prisons.
Wow.
Yes, Captain Burton. And he used to make them, but these are stories that I've heard because he died when I was 3. So I remember his funeral like it was yesterday. But he used to make the prisoners do a lot of carpentry. They did a lot of good carpentry. And this I got from my aunt, who was his daughter. She's now dead. But she used to go to visit him there. And yes, they used to do a lot of fantastic carpentry work. A lot of carpentry work. But I can't say that I do remember that. What I remember is when the main gate of the prison was on King George V Street. Do you remember that?
King George the Fifth Street.
Yes.
Well, that's
King George. Yes.
by
King
Astafan's-
George. Yes.
Astafan's area,
Right.
yeah.
There
And
was
right
this
across
arch
right by the
that
police
you
station.
could go. Yes, that
Right.
is where the entrance, the main entrance to the police department was.
Yeah. And so I was told that the prison was the same area where the Karams.
The Karams.
building
I
is,
don't
you know?
remember that.
Yeah.
No.
No, Aileen. Let's go back now to
Sorry, the prisons I think extended to where the fire brigade is.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's correct. No. That I was told so. Now, Aileen, let's talk a bit of you and school. What was the first school, preschool that you went to? And
I didn't go to a preschool. I went to the convent at age 4, the prep. With Miss Garrard, Miss Stevenson, Miss Anthony. She was in third grade, yes. We didn't have all this 5th and 6th thing at that time. Well, we had 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then we went up to 1st form. But remember Miss Garrard, Miss Stevenson used to ride a motorbike from Maho. Then they
ride a
were
motorbike from Maho?
Yes.
I'm learning for the very first time.
Miss Stevenson. And then we had Miss Anthony. We had some other teachers, but these are the main ones. Miss Anthony, yes. Yeah, she's now Major Barnaby. Well, she's still alive. Miss Toussaint. Mrs. Joseph. But I call them by the names that I knew them at school. Mrs. Joseph, but she died also. Dearcy Joseph's wife. Clarina Toussaint. So these are the teachers we had. We had Montessori. Then we had Miss Stevenson was the next class bigger. Then we had 1, 2, and 3. Miss Anthony,
So
Miss
Tina just said to us that the back of the prison was on Cock Street, but actually the prison was on King George V Street.
That's right.
And
Yes. So it extended
the walls
yes.
to Cock Street.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what
right.
Tina
Okay.
just mentioned to us.
Good. Thanks, Tina.
Yeah. So yes, tell us about you're talking about your school days.
Well, school days. So when we were in prep school, we had a little school band, and all these boys like Parry Bellot and Alwyn Bully, Gregory Shillingford, and the whole lot. That age group, we were all in a school band. We had little jingle bells and little tambourines and drums and things like that. That's how we entertained ourselves. And then when we got bigger, then we started having classes for First Communion. We did First Communion classes in school, and the nuns taught us. And then we would go to Mass during various months, like month of May was month of Mary, and different things. And when you went to Mass, you would get a little star, a little star and you would get a little medal for good conduct or going to mass or whatever. It was interesting, but I didn't particularly like school.
You like school?
No, I didn't particularly like it. And when I went up to first one, it was even worse. At least we played a little bit more in the prep school, but I didn't particularly like it.
So no, you entered high school.
Yes,
Convent,
went up to first form.
Convent High School.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, tell us about
Convent
it.
High School. So we walked up the little hill to go to school. And I mean, I was never an A student. I could excel at certain times, but it was not a consistent A. I was more of a B student, B minus. But I liked practical things. So and I had leadership skills from very young. So I was always a form captain. Always had to see that the class was clean and that the children swept on a Friday afternoon to prepare for Monday. We had little other societies that was affiliated to the school, like Legion of Mary. Then we were Children of Mary as well. We used to go to Sunday afternoon things. That used to be a headache sometimes, because Sunday afternoon the sun is hot. You've just had a sea bath. You don't want to go to church, but we used to have to go. So that was Children of Mary, where it formed us to be good citizens and faithful to Christ and encouraged to say yes, as Mary did. And I remember when people who belonged, the children who belonged to the Children of Mary, when they got married, they had this special arch that they would walk through, going up the aisle. Legion of Mary I found very interesting, because they would send us to do certain things. They would send us to, you could choose where you wanted to go to, and I always wanted to go to the hospital. So I used to go to the hospital where I would serve. You remember there was a private ward at that time?
Yes.
So we used to go and help to serve dinner in the private ward. Then we would clear away, and then by that time, it would be time to go home. Then I would go to the children's ward. We would be folding the sheets and the nappies and the clothes. We would help them to do that, the nursing staff, play with the children. But I mainly remember folding clothes, folding sheets to put in the cupboard, clean sheets. And then when I was a little bigger, I went to casualty. And this is where I decided, well, I think nursing is what I want to do. I met with people like Nurse Brooks and Nurse, the name will come, but it lies in my hard drive. On private ward, Sister Brooks, she also had a sister who was a nurse who worked there too. And a few of the other old nurses, elder nurses. Then in casualty, I will never forget Sister Sims. Never. So I worked with her too. Sometimes I would take down the names, of the people coming in and what their complaints were. And then this is how I helped out. And this is how I decided that I wanted to be a nurse.
So then you're at school.
Yes.
And you're moving up in the ranks of your class.
Yes.
First form, second form.
Yes.
When you arrive at fourth form, what was the difference now?
Fourth form, something happened around this time, because this is the time that they changed over the school year. So we had to do fourth form again. It was from January to December before.
That's right.
And now it's September to what? August?
To June.
September to July.
To July. And it's around that period that in fourth form, I think, yes, that we changed over. So I missed out a year there. We had to do the class over again.
Then I understood that you became head girl. How that happened?
I was form captain before that in every class. Form captain, games captain, and I organized netball. But also before I became head girl, we used to organize little plays. I also was a member of the Inter-Secondary School Drama Society with Alwyn. Alwyn and Amma Harris. Amma Harris was teaching at that time. And yes, okay, just let me go back and I will say that my sister organized, Miriam, she organized a school play with Evelyn Grell, and she was Freddie Freitas, and a few other of our friends. And we had this play at convent, and the proceeds, and with Yvette Grell too. She was our class teacher, so she helped us out. And we made some money, and what we did, we bought wash rags and soaps, and we brought them down to the leper home.
As you say,
the leper home down the road.
we're going to come back to that a bit.
Yes, okay.
Some persons are actually communicating first.
Yes.
Right now, we're 141 viewers. Carol Savre Abraham says
Yes.
the first term for school change to September in 1963. So that
correct.
is 61 years
Yes,
ago.
it's about that time too, yes.
Miranda Harris said that she's watching. Juliana Frederick said that she's also watching. Alvin Thomas in the States is also
hi,
watching.
Boy.
And he said, good to see you, Aileen.
Yes.
Looking lovely.
Thank
yeah. Oh,
you.
yes.
Try my
Alvin,
best.
Alvin, don't try that, Alvin. I will not break you trying. All right. Augustina John Baptist is also watching. You have Ronald Stricker. Ronald Stricker is a Grenadian.
Oh.
He said, excellent program, Cecil Joseph. A program on point. Excellent. Love it. So if a foreigner can tell you that, it means that we are touching and reaching people.
Yes.
Now, so you said that you were talking about the infirmary.
Yes.
Continue.
The infirmary, had I reached there? No, we know. What I just spoke about was the leper's home.
Yes, the leper's home.
You remember?
Yeah.
Remember where it was?
Taru.
Yes, Taru.
Okay. So Yvette Grell drove us down so that we could present the soaps and the wash rags for those people. Again, when I talk about being independent, these are little things people can do. You don't have to belong to a big society to do it. You can do it among friends. You can have a little raffle and, make an impression. People who live still, I don't know if they're Lakous anymore, but people who, if you know of an old person, you can have a little collection and buy something. This is using your initiative, And this is my point of being independent, to do those type of things, rather than having an organization to do it. Anyway.
So Aileen,
yes.
in the Lakou,
yes.
Fortunately, Cock Street had a number of Lakous.
Lakous, yes.
So you could pass the one right at the back of your father's building.
Yes.
By the Richards, by Annie Richards.
Right, and go
get by
to
Mr.
Fields Lane.
To Fields Lane, right. So you know that well. Also, too, you could go by my cousins and them that is on Cock Street. That is
oh yes,
Rennick Thomas.
the Cognets. No,
the Rennick Thomas. The Cognets was on the other side.
Oh, okay.
The Cognets would come out from Great Marlborough Street,
okay.
and then to get onto Cock Street.
Right.
But I'm talking about Rennick used to sell the tablets and the
oh yes,
the Farin Cuckoo.
the two little short ladies.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Two sisters.
Oh my goodness, yes, they were darlings.
Yes, and you'd pass.
I can see them now walking in my eyes mind. I can see them walking with their baskets and selling those things.
So Cock Street.
Oh yes.
Two.
Oh yes.
On the side of Cock Street, on the southern side, had two Lakous. On the other side, I'm not far from you. You had the Roseau Mixing Fan School.
Yes.
What you remember about the Roseau Mixing Fan School, especially when
a lot of noise.
Talk to us.
Lot of noise. So we used to get noise from that side, and what they used to do was to come and knock the little gates, because the gate had a lever that you closed it with, and it was a heavy lever. So we just come knock. So, and this is when we know that school is over. These are the little troublesome things that the children would do. Nothing vicious, nothing, destructive, but they would just trouble you. I mean, children are children. So they would just come and knock this thing, and you'd look out and they would see there's nobody there. So, or sometimes they got bold and would come up the steps and knock the door. and just run away, or ring the bell and run away. I mean, these are innocent little games, you know, that these children would do.
Well, well, I can say that I did it quite a lot.
I'm sure.
On King George V Street, because you had the bullies, you had the bullies,
Right,
and,
lower down.
you know, lower on the other side,
I used
you
to
know,
look that.
and all of those houses there,
They had
the
their
Shillingfords, Campbell Phillip. Once upon a time, they used to be living in that area there, and they used to have this.
Yes.
This
That
like a
bourgeois
silver,
thing there, you
not
knock that
silver,
man.
gold,
Brown gold, man.
gold,
With a kind of lion head.
kind of thing that will make noise. Hold it,
That's
hold it.
that
the
you-
bullies.
Yes, the
Yes,
bullies.
tuck, tuck, tuck.
Yes,
And you
and,
knock
and,
that-
you run.
Yes, yes,
know?
yes, yes.
Yeah, so
These were innocent little jokes.
I did that myself.
Innocent, childish jokes, you know?
no, Aileen. Earlier on, you spoke about Pee-wee ice
Oh, mon
cream,
Dieu.
Pee-wee sandwich, and
Oh my goodness.
let's talk
yes.
a bit about Pee-wee. How did that in terms of you in your Lakou was able to get to Pee-wee to even buy those things?
But let me tell you, even before Pee-wee, we used to go down the road to Monday's to buy penny ice.
You?
Yes. Monday's used to be at the back of Dupinis. Do you know that lane where Garaway is? The cobblestone lane?
Yes.
When you reach the end, going towards Dupinis, in that
Yes.
corner place, that was
Where
Monday.
Asafans used to be before?
No,
Not right there.
I don't remember Asafans being there.
Okay, where?
Do you remember? Okay, can you imagine coming down Cock Street with this house that comes over the street? It's
Yes,
the only house
yes.
we have.
Where the radio station is?
Where they?
A radio station.
Yes.
Right.
So next to it, that is
Yeah.
where Mondays were.
Oh.
And we used to go and buy penny ice or a pound of ice and come back and sit on the windowsill and then break up the ice and enjoy that. Refreshing. So that was one. Then Pee-wee's came later. Because the Mondays used to sell nice sandwiches as well, eh? But when they moved over to King George V Street. And then Pee-wee's was under, where I know Pee-wee's, he was under the Davis's house. You know the Davis's house in that corner?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Really, yeah. For
And
sure.
my God, those milkshakes, banana splits, sandwiches, succulent, hamburgers, ice cream, popsicle. Oh. Don't forget the Frenchman up by the gardens.
Yes, Frenchie. It's a Frenchie.
Frenchie.
It's a Frenchie.
Oh, those popsicles are out of this world. The children don't know what they're missing.
So tell me, would you go on a Friday night? How would you get the money so you can go and buy this thing?
Moji
Would Burton-
nenen. Nenen.
You mean your grandmother give that to you?
Nenen. Boy, you couldn't ask mommy and daddy for money, no? Not like that, no? Nenen would save up a little, and things were cheap, and so we would go on the floor of her room and we would pick up all what we saw on the floor. I think she used to drop it there for us, you know. And sometimes they were 10 cents. We would take them. And of course we would ask permission to go, eh? And we would go. But this is when really we were teenagers, eh?
But he said that
When-
someone said that Mondesi sold the best corned beef sandwich.
Noted for that. Oh, that is true. That is very, very
And someone,
true.
and as you said that, someone just said so true.
Yes, very, very true.
Uh-huh.
Corned beef sandwich, oh my goodness.
Corned beef sandwich.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Today we're not seeing that at all.
Didn't see that again.
So Nene not put the money
Nene,
somewhere for you to get it.
Yes, she used to leave it on the edge of her thing because she always had a meeting to go to. If it's not Sacred Heart, it's Legion of Mary or somewhere. She used to collect pure rent. So after work, she always had something to do. So she used to leave the little 10 cents. And I said, Mommy, can we go and buy this? And she said, okay, go, be careful, be on the side and so. You know, our parents gave us what we needed. There's something that I learned very early on from my parents, particularly from my father. You couldn't go to either of them to say, I want. You couldn't. You could say, may I have. May I have. You could never say, I want. He would say to you, we give you, you cannot want now because we are giving you what we can give you and what is necessary for you to have now. When you start working, you can say, I want, and you can go and buy. But at this point in your life is may I have. And if we have the money and we feel you can have it, you may have it. But no business of I want. I see children that just say, Mommy, I want this, I want that. We could not do that. I learned that very, very early on.
In those days, children used to do exchange, like sleeping over or getting to each other's space at their various homes. And if they reach on time, they would get lunch or breakfast or supper. You had that experience growing up?
No, I hated to leave my home. I couldn't sleep out, no? I would go well, but when an hour or two has passed, they had to bring me home. I would be crying. I couldn't leave home. But you mean having to go to people to eat? We probably to our grandmother to sleep over. Not really. We have done that, but it wasn't something that was very often done. We went to the cousins, sometimes by our grandmother, and she made the nicest red beans. I'm sure other people are going to tell me no, their grandmother did, but for us, our grandmother made the nicest red beans. We would go to the cousins like the Cecil Burton, one Selena, Mrs. Laron, Trevor Burton. We could go there to sleep, and just within the family. But when we got older, we went to the country. We went to La Plaine with Pappy Green. So we went with the Trotters, the girls, and the Burtons. And we bought things. We made up our menu. We made up our timetable. Who needed to clean, wash up, cook, We were well organized. But we were teenagers, eh? I would be about what? 15, 16, 17.
Right. At that time, what about your other sisters?
Oh, we mostly went away all together, I think Frances, when we were going to La Plaine, yes, Frances came up to La Plaine with us. She was the first, and then she went off to university. My sisters, yes, we did mostly things together. Like during the holidays, when we were young, we were probably in the early forms. We went to either Shuffler by Eggleston or Trafalgar. And Nenen would come with us, and the helper would come with us. And so we were supervised. So all four of us went, we went. We all went. And then one year, Mommy came with us. She took holidays to be with us. But most of the time, Nenen would be with us. Somebody's asking something?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, sure.
4 beautiful girls, in 4th form, 5th form. Daddy and Mommy ever had problems? I know these young SME boys would come.
They're afraid of Daddy. I think they were afraid of Daddy. They wouldn't fool around with DK Burton's girls at all.
They wouldn't come around and knock that door. They were afraid of your daddy.
I think so.
He's a rifleman.
I think so. And I was never one to go out like when I was growing up, 4th form, 5th form.
No school dances?
Oh, I went, but I would be behind the bars. I would not go dancing. Paula, Miriam, and maybe Frances. I don't remember Frances too much, but they would go to school dances. But when I became the age of the, my English is going, my age. When I became of the age to go to those dances, and I think they were organized by the Inter-Secondary School Drama Society and maybe the Student Council, but I would remain behind the bar. I would help. I would not go on the dance floor. That was just me. And no, I love the traditional dances, but I still don't like going to just ordinary dances. I don't.
So like, for instance, in Roseau, there were so many various Lakous. It never intrigued your mind to take a walk and to visit those various Lakous in your days of growing up?
I have been through there. I mean, I didn't know anybody, but if you want a shortcut, you pass in a Lakou.
Okay.
So I have seen the way the houses are always very nice and clean. And something about the Lakou, at 6 o'clock every evening, you smell onion on the fire.
In the morning?
No, evening.
Oh, evening. Oh, sorry.
There's onion being fried with oil on the thing. So somebody else explained to me, somebody from Guadeloupe actually. Her mother is Dominican, but she was born in Guadeloupe. And she said to me, you must have an onion. Whether you have meat or not, you must fry an onion at 6 o'clock. So people in the neighborhood will know your children are eating. They don't know what they're eating.
Wow.
But that was a psychological means of telling people we
Café
have
manger.
something to eat.
Nous café manger.
Yes.
Ah. So even if it's kionné, the kionné in you, but nous café manger.
That is not your
Not your
the
business.
neighbors you're not supposed to
Wow.
know. That is not your business. But
That
I'm
is
telling you,
awful.
every 6 o'clock I'm smelling onions frying. I said, well, what is that smells nice, boy. What is frying? And then on a Sunday, during the midday, you will smell chicken roasting, you need to stew. When you burn the sugar
Yes.
and you make it chicken stew, you would smell that. Or beef. Oh my goodness. Oh, there were lovely smells coming from the
You mean
Lakou.
from where your house is there, you mean you have taken the smells?
Yeah, man. Mountain breeze bringing that down. Right up to
Wow.
the house.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
Very amazing.
Yes,
But can you
yes,
imagine by deception you fry your onions? People think you fry.
I
you fry
suspect
fish.
Aileen making people go and do that now, boy. So, some persons will start doing that now, boy.
Yes.
But
Oh,
Aileen,
yes.
Let me ask you a question.
They were very diplomatic, eh? There was a certain diplomacy about certain of these people because people didn't have to know your business. They didn't have to. You're starving. Some people may know people you trust because you don't want people to go and spread your business outside. You know, so you had to maintain that little dignity. Yes, tell me.
Yeah. You ever saw the lampe vierge?
La lampe vierge.
The lampe vierge.
La-
That's the little lamp. You put in a little.
Ah,
area,
for the Virgin.
with the virgin.
But of course.
It goes pack,
But
patak,
of
patak.
Oh, I don't know about that one going pack, pack. But I know Nenen had her little eternal lamp. And I remember when I was going to England in 1969, there was Auntie Maud Wilson who lived. The house is still there. You already see Charlie Moore there.
Okay, yeah. You know.
Just opposite Deepex. I went to say goodbye to her because this is something you had to do. You're traveling, you're going a long way away. So you went round to the neighbors to tell them you're going and so. And she took me by my shoulders and brought me to her room, and she had her nice little display, her little sacred altar with her candles and her statues and whatever, and she prayed for me. She put her hands on my shoulders from the back, and she prayed for me. Father, I'm entrusting you with this child. She's going far. Take care of her. Yes.
So as we're talking about going far, we know that children during the summer holidays,
Yeah.
they would have left Roseau, those who have country families, and would have gone to the country for the holidays. In your case, did you leave Dominica and go overseas?
No. No. We went to the country. We used to go to Saint-Sauveur to the Monels. Or to Aileen. Let me tell you, the first time I left Dominica was in 1968. I was 18 years old. And not my parents who sent me. They sent Frances to Barbados to meet an aunt because she had done well in, I think, either her junior or senior Cambridge exams. So they sent her there. But we didn't travel like that. They didn't have the money to send us abroad. I went abroad for guiding to a guide camp the first thing I went to a drama seminar. That's the first time I left Dominica in 1968. I was 18 years old, so everybody knows my age now. And I went to the 2-week drama club, and I was sent by the Intersecondary Schools Drama Society. I went with Amma Harris, and we went to a drama club, drama workshop in St. Vincent. And that's the first time I left Dominica. And that year, I traveled 3 times. I went to St. Vincent. I went to Martinique on a guide camp with Brownell Johnson, Miss Warrington. Who else was there in that guide camp? A lot of people, but I just don't remember the names. I think Cheryl Trotter was there too. And yes, we went. There was a Jubilee campaign in Carbe in Martinique. And this is where they gave me the first time I tasted bread and a hard piece of chocolate in the middle.
Martinique.
And I cried like a baby because
Wow.
I was hungry. Hungry. And I'm seeing this dry bread. I mean, in Dominica, we always have butter, but the French people are not butter people.
Ah.
So we had this big piece of banto with a stick of chocolate in it. Oh, and then we had, so Miss Warrington always traveled. The guides must be prepared. So Miss Warrington always traveled with her cake. And she had to give me a piece of cake to console me.
You hear what someone said?
Hmm?
Miranda Harris said,
Mm-hmm.
my mother would have us take the spoon and knock the plate so our neighbors would think we are having a good supper.
Interesting.
But it
Lovely.
really, but it, but in it real, but it was really, we were eating bread and tea.
Okay. You see?
Can you imagine?
Yes. They were very discreet, very private people. Because people, you know, and in those days, they could make a song on them, eh?
Yes.
So you had to be very, pardon me, private. You had to be very discreet, very diplomatic, you know? Yeah. And I
Wow.
think we need to learn a lot from these people. Let me
Yes.
tell you, there's a carnival song. I don't know if you all heard it.
Uh-huh.
It was taught by my one of my aunts who's now passed away, aunt-in-law actually, who taught it to me. And again, it was a carnival song made because this lady, she had a baby, but the boyfriend did not seem to cater for the needs of the baby or her confinement. So the song is saying, Maria, oti basin la. Because when the midwife came to bathe the baby, there was no basin. Because normally you have a layette for the baby. That was a big thing. You buy the baby's little vests, their nappies. We get the cloth at Nassif, sew the edges, and prepare for the baby. So a basin would have been needed for a little bit of soap and whatever. So the song says, Maria, oti basin la ou lave bodaula Maria. Maria, oti basin la ou lave bodaula Maria.
Wow.
So you see, they could make songs on people anytime. So where is the basin? Because you don't have a basin for the baby, so give me the one that you used to wash your bottom.
Yes.
Wow.
You know?
That was powerful.
Powerful.
Yes.
And that is how, although in the Lakou, people were very neighborly, very helpful, they looked after each other. But again, as I said, these words always came into play. You heard them very often. Jealousy, taking advantage, and hypocrite.
No, in your Lakou, we spoke of, we didn't finalize on Pee-wee.
Oh,
You
but
told
for
us-
sure we forgot about
yes.
Pee-wee.
I really want to get to know, what was the value of Pee-wee to people like yourself.
Yes, I remember Pee-wee was a place to go to. It was a place to go to if you had a little pocket change or you were working and you wanted to pass somewhere in the afternoon, you felt like for something nice. Pee-wee was a place to go to. The things I remember, banana splits particularly, because it was something new to Dominica. The milkshakes that I loved, I still love milkshakes up to this day. And the sandwiches, the hamburgers, I was never keen on hamburgers, and neither am I still to today. I don't like hamburgers. But the sandwich and hot dogs. Yes, hot dogs. These are the things I remember. Maybe other people may remember other things. So come on, call in. Let us know what you enjoyed from Pee-wee's.
Telephone is ringing, but I'm not ready for the phone
Oh,
calls
okay.
yet. So,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
these are the things but it was somewhere to go to in the afternoon, like Jackie Dupini's when she started her little cartwheel. That was Pee-wee's, and you would get your popsicles. It was a nice fun place to go to.
Did you ever go to the lady who sell the unbreakables and the
Of
flowering
course,
cocoa
Ma Henry. Yes, man.
under the downstairs there?
Of course.
All right.
Oh, yes. And, it's interesting, eh? There are a lot of things that we, and probably Dominicans, we do not do sufficient research. But now that we have internet, it's fascinating to see how close these things are related to us in Dominica. There's a program that I saw, and they're making this kind of unbreakable things. Mommy used to tell us they would boil the sugar and make it into hard syrup to get hard. And the lady would throw it on a nail and pull it. Throw it on the nail, pull it until it got thin. Then she would roll it and then cut it and wrap it up in the newspaper or the brown paper. I can't remember which one.
The brown paper.
The brown paper,
paper, yeah.
right.
Paper.
And then I saw this on YouTube quite recently. That is how they make the sweets.
You know, the unbreakable, I mean, in my time I saw the unbreakable, we ate it. And I never know how they made the unbreakable.
Yeah, it's
I never
just
knew. I mean,
sugar, yeah? Plain sugar
just
and
plain
water,
sugar.
yes. And you just boil and boil and boil until it becomes very hard
What
and
about
stiff.
foreign cocoa?
Flowering cocoa.
Foreign cocoa, but you hear stories about foreign cocoa, what you find in the foreign cocoa. Honestly, this was such fun.
People used to say that they chewed it with their mouth.
Yes, and then they spit it
and they
out.
spit it out, and they
Yes.
fry it.
Oh, my dear.
But people
I
said
tell
something-
you, we would all be dead by now.
That was
Yes.
amazing.
Oh, yes.
The
Yeah, but I
things that
tell
they
you,
sell
it
with foreign
tasted
cocoa.
very nice, eh?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very
So-
nice.
Foreign cocoa, and they would put it in the little cone
Yes.
Yeah.
and
yes.
cover it up
Cover it,
nicely.
Yeah. They would make a cone with the paper.
Yeah, man.
And put that in that and buy it for 10 for halfpenny, penny.
Oh my
and
goodness,
you
I'm
eat that,
telling
and
you.
little sugar, white sugar,
Yes.
that, little essence.
It didn't do much
And
harm
you
to
just
us, huh?
You just we made that. There's a lady that was called Miss Mary, who was our neighbor on Fields Lane, who made that every so often.
Miss Mary?
Yes, Miss Mary.
In Fields Lane.
In Fields Lane, she was
Okay.
our exact neighbor.
Oh.
She was her house was facing the road,
Right.
and we had to we were in the backyard.
Okay.
So Miss Mary Fats,
Yes.
lady, she was the grandmother of the Dorivals,
Okay.
not the Dorivals who were your neighbors, but the Dorivals who were from Boyd's Avenue. You know.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me ask Aileen another question.
Yes.
You ever eat how you call that?
Tambourine jam?
The tambourine jam.
Oh.
Also the kind of tablet siu.
See, oh, of course. Mommy would make that at home because that's what they knew growing up, from Bath
Okay.
Estate. Tablet siu. And you, even now, Auntie Bertha made one once, eh? Oh, God, that thing was so nice. And that's Mrs. Tulo. She lived next
Next to
near
you,
to
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Hmm. And it was chewy. And, you just savoring that thing. Now everybody telling you, don't eat sweet, don't eat sweet.
Yes.
But it didn't get us fat.
Well, yeah, what Tina said. Tina said that when they used to give them their little money for church collection, she used to save it to buy her unbreakable and so on. You
Okay.
did that?
No, I'll be too honest. To a fault.
She doesn't put the money in the collection.
If I ever did that, I would think that my parents would know.
You think?
I would think that they would know.
Yes.
They wouldn't know, but I would think that they would know. I wouldn't do it.
Well, Cheryl Rule said that Pee Wee had the best ham sandwich
Okay.
and milkshake. So at least you have somebody agreeing with you.
Which are the cherry rolls?
Cheryl
now?
Rule, maybe Cheryl Rule.
Hillsborough?
Yeah, maybe. let's take a telephone call. And I just want to say to the callers, when you're calling and you get on, just lower down the volume of your
Ready.
device. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening, Good evening to you, caller. Good evening. Good evening to you, caller. Well, you have to call me back, caller. Sorry about that. Good evening, caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Okay. Foreign cocoa. To make the foreign cocoa is to grate the coconut, then put it in the pot and let it get dry almost. And then you put in the sugar and some nutmeg and a little cinnamon.
Do you have to remake? Do you have to remake the coconut?
With a lepe set?
Do you have to remake the farwin cocoa?
Oh, yeah.
For it to, because you can just put it in the pot and leave it there.
Yeah, you have to stir it. You have to remake it,
You
of
have to
course.
stir it, yeah. With your wooden spoon, yes.
But-
That's the one.
But I heard, people used to say,
Uh-huh.
they said, how you want to put it. They used to squeeze out the milk first to make coconut cheese, and then
Yes.
do with
Yes.
the rest with foreign
that's
cocoa.
right.
Yes. It's a byproduct.
You see, that's economics.
byproduct.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
byproduct,
yes.
byproduct,
It will
Yeah,
help
so
you.
you do two things with it.
Yeah, you make your
know,
money.
and the tablets. What about tablet?
Tablet. They had two types of tablets. One if they grated the coconut, and the other one you chopped it.
Chop it.
That's a harder one.
Yes.
And then you had the noga.
Yeah, the loga.
The logo with
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
peanuts.
Yeah, my grandma used to
Yeah.
make the loga very well.
The white one and the brown one.
Mammy Lee. She used
And
to-
brick. How do you say brittle? How do you used to call the dark one?
the dark one. It had
The tablets, see what we had. The brown one, we have
No,
the
no,
still
no,
call it
it's
tab-
like the
coconut
brittle.
cheese. No,
No,
You slice
The
it.
noga, but there was a black one
Oh, yes.
and a
the
white
brown
one.
and white one.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Somebody going to help us. Let's see. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening, caller.
Yes, I'm on board with that one.
That is the,
That's the expert.
Aileen, that's the expert.
That's the expert.
Who are we
That-
here?
that is
Yeah, man,
Rennick
Rennick
Thomas, my cousin.
Oh.
The one we were talking about in Cook Street.
All right.
Yes, the two short ladies.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He's the expert.
He was the expert.
Great, great,
that-
great. Welcome.
Miss Burton is correct. She's correct.
Yes.
You had to extract the milk from
Right.
the coconut.
Yes.
And the dry remnants.
Mhm.
Yeah, you use it, you put it on the fire in a pot with some sugar,
Yes.
and you warm it. That's it.
Yes,
That's
yes,
cocoa.
yes, until it's
Uh-huh.
dry. And they still do it
But
in
the
Guadeloupe, you know.
unbreakable-
They package it in Guadeloupe. They
Yes, they
package
do.
it.
Yeah, but it's bigger than what it's like a big cone.
Yes.
Yeah, and the unbreakable.
Hold on, before you go to the unbreakable, Rennick, before you go to the unbreakable, did you by any chance took the pashi cocoa and grate it in your mouth?
Did you ever
No,
do
no,
that?
it's to bring the back.
It's okay. Devil's advocates.
For shortcut?
No.
Uh,
We when we made those delicacies, we five boys, we all had our own special graters.
okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Everybody
we
had to
graters
help.
for tablet. We had graters for coconut cheese, and there was a difference between the graters. People don't know
Oh,
those techniques. But
okay.
Yeah. When you want a lot of milk from the coconut,
Use it small.
yeah, you have to we had different nails making the graters. So that's the whole technical aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about the unbreakable, it's the same secret about sugar, especially when you don't know how to make the coconut cheese. If it faults, it becomes unbreakable. It gets hard.
Uh-huh. True.
Yes, that's what
That
the
was an
technique about
art, eh?
sugar. Because it's an art. Coconut cheese is not just take coconut and just grate it and make coconut cheese.
Right.
There's a thing you have to warm it and it comes up. You have to remove and put back.
Yes.
So it's a timely thing because if it gets hard and it stretch on you, it's unbreakable.
And we didn't
And you
have
can
the
never cut that.
thermometers at that time, like cooking thermometers. Everything was done by instinct
Yep.
and
definitely.
practice. Yes.
Yeah. So people making those things, some of them put in
people.
flour and
Yes.
to make like pap to make it get hard. No.
Or to
It have a
stretch
whole lot of
it.
technique behind coconut cheese. But if it was something that had plenty money, I'd be making that like Pee-wee sandwiches and Mondays.
I can imagine, Rennick.
Imagine, really.
I can imagine. So what about coconut cheese?
He left us.
Rennick left us already.
Well, there's coconut cheese and also the peppermint.
Yes.
Oh, do you remember Miss Winnie?
Yes, I remember.
Miss Winnie. She used to make the peppermint, ginger. There was something else, a very hard one she used to make. I can't
Luga?
remember. No. It was a hard sweet.
No, not the
It
gingerbread.
mint, I think it was a type of mint as well, but it was hard, very hard, and it was green.
Yes. Oh yes. They used to put
Oh, I know.
Miss Winnie used to do a lot of little things, and you
Hello,
know this.
Rennick.
Yes.
Help us
But you
in
want to ask about coconut cheese?
Oh, I was about to ask.
Peppermint is easy thing. You just peppermint is the same mixture of water and sugar, and you just add a little peppermint essence to it when it get hot. And if you want to put a little color to it, you just buy a little red coloring from dispensary, and you just drop a little eye over that eye drop.
You notice he said dispensary.
Yes.
Shilling for it.
Oh, but you must write a book, man.
No, we were trying to find out. We were trying to find out one of them. The names of one of them. We said it's not Loga.
Coconut cheese?
No, not coconut cheese. It was
The
hard.
dark Loda, Noga.
I tried to the name came and it went. Yeah, again, all those things there is when the sugar collapse, if you have a fault in making those things, that's it. You can't do anything else with it, so it just gets solid, and you just try to break it and sell it for kids, so they suck it like a lolly.
Yes.
That's it.
Interesting.
You can't waste money, it's just technicality.
Yeah, okay, Papa.
Coconut cheese would have been a big industry.
Yes.
But you have a
Yes.
lot of work. Yeah. You have to peel coconut. You have to grate coconut. Nah,
But you see,
man.
this is where we need to, if agriculture was taught as a science, as Mrs. Harris used to say, then we would be able to ask the students to create instruments that would make the work lighter.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, creative
see?
innovation.
No, Alien, as a girl growing up, also too, that people talk about hygiene, and I'm sure at home they would tell you about hygiene, but you'd still go and buy your frozen joys somewhere else.
We did more of that. We bought frozen joys anywhere.
Man.
I don't think we ever bothered. I mean, we knew the people around, like Miss Janie. We would buy coconut cake from Miss Janie. Who used to make frozen joys again? Miss the Walsh, I think Wilma used to make frozen joys too.
Yes, my Wilma used to make frozen
Yes.
joys.
The Johnsons on Virgin Lane.
Yes. I remember that for sure.
Yes. Oh gosh.
There's a number of persons doing
Yes,
frozen
but
joys,
we did not have a problem with hygiene. I mean, nobody got sick. Nobody got sick, but we knew the people around because Rosa was still relatively small. The population was still small.
And not only that, even if you have a frozen joys, you buy it in half and you're giving the other half to somebody else.
Yes.
Or a mango gob. That's what's
But this word gob.
Yes,
I
mango
don't know.
gob.
I've
I
heard
thought
that for a
gob.
long time.
Yes, I want a gob.
Yeah, man, you take a sock.
Yes, and you or you take a sock from the frozen joys.
Yes,
You buy frozen joys and take a sock.
yes, and
People want to eat your whole. So you just soak it and give it back to me.
Yes, I don't eat my whole frozen joys. I mean, this were funny,
Yeah,
fun
very,
days.
very, very funny.
They were fun days.
fun days.
Coconut cake.
Coconut, Miss Janie, in Marlborough Street.
Yeah.
Yes, Miss Janie, her coconut cake, her coconut cheese, her guava tarts, her coconut tarts. What else she used to make? Her meat pies. There's another lady who used to make meat pies, Mrs. Elwin. Do you remember Mrs. Elwin by the Methodist Church? Jewel Street.
Jewel Street, no. Mrs.
Don't you
Elwin.
remember that, Miss Adams?
Yeah,
Miss
Cuthbert when his mother used to make something.
Freddie Elwin, Faye Elwin, married to Attie. Her mother made the most delicious meat pies. By Jewel Street, where the Martez used to
Martez
live,
lived.
there were the
Oh.
Martez, the Shillingfords, the Ronnie Sevre on the other side,
On
the
the other side,
Piers,
right. Okay.
in that little, you can call it a
Yeah,
Lakou
but
too.
it's a little Lakou there.
Yes.
By the Christian
By the
Right,
Wesley
Methodist
exactly,
Church, by the
exactly.
by the Wesley
Oh my
High
God!
School.
When you would pass by Mrs. Elwin's house,
Yeah.
ooh, then the Larocks, Mrs. Larrock used to make pan bread.
Someone's trying to reach us again. Let's see what the person has to say. Oh, sorry about that caller. Sorry, it's still a little bit long.
What about the puddings?
Bread pudding. Then you had this thing called Pemmy. Do you
The
remember Pemmy?
Yeah, Pemmy, yes.
Right. There's a lady in Hillsborough Street who used to make Pemmy.
Oh, right.
Yes.
No. Let me tell you. The Catholic Church was very much involved in distributing bulgur, milk.
What is a
oil.
bulgur?
Something like oats.
Yeah.
Oh,
brown thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Once you ask what is the bulgur, it means that you didn't
You never
collect
eat the
those things.
bulgur,
You
right?
never
No,
collect
No,
those
I
things.
probably did, but because I know Mommy used to help. Mommy was one of the founding members of the Social League of Catholic Women.
Oh, okay.
And we used to go up to help, weigh the babies, give them vitamins.
Right.
You know the Catholic Church and the nuns got rid of malnutrition in Dominica?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember, and that's why that's when they turn the word milk
milk.
to klim
Clim.
to clim.
Clean.
Yes.
That was nice, huh?
That was.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, that was good. You know.
We used to, one thing we used to take a lot of clean and just eat it dry.
Cream and
Yes.
sugar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eat it dry.
So tell us a little bit about that clim and sugar that you used to eat dry.
Yeah, man. You see, because of when we were growing up, because the part of the dining room was taken to make a bedroom, we had a cupboard in our room, and that was a kind of a pantry. So all the cream and the things used to stay there. So when we would just take a little bit, I wouldn't call it stealing. We would help ourselves. Cream and Ovaltine and just mix it dry and eat it. You know, I do that up to today, once in a while.
Wow.
Yes, I do it. I mean, I don't abuse, but I do it because sometimes you just have memories of your childhood and you just want to relive those days. And I mean, you just sit down, or you take farine
Right.
and condensed milk,
Right.
and you turn that.
Did you ever eat zabuka and farine?
Yeah, man. Oh, yes.
Yeah, she said that. Yeah, man.
Of course.
I mean, she loves that.
Yeah,
We
man.
had to. I mean, we ate what was grown in Dominica. We ate what was provided for us. You know,
That's good.
you couldn't say, "Mommy, I don't want that. I want a hamburger." The only one I remember is my third sister. She didn't like to eat, so Mommy would have to give her milk. Prepare some milk for Miriam, please. She doesn't want to eat.
No. Aileen.
Yes.
In those days, and still it happens, where people, when they get up first thing in the morning, they would want a hot cup of black coffee.
Yes. And do you know, another thing of the Lakou was that somebody was always bringing a little hot coffee to somebody else. And I used to watch this particular lady, and it was in the period that people were still walking barefooted. And every morning at a particular time, you see her with a cup in her hand, going up the road bringing coffee for somebody. And these are the little things that I think with the extinction of Lakous, we're missing out.
Yes.
And boy, this could take another whole long discussion. Because what is the future? What is the future of, okay, with the Lakous you had excuse me, like companionship. An old person could sit by the door, watch the children playing, leave the children with the neighbor if she's going for a shop to do something, to buy something. She could leave, so there was this community spirit within the Lakou. And now that we have a lot of apartments, I wonder what is I know the Lakou is on its way out. That is for sure.
Yes.
But how do we take care of that area where, and this is, I suppose, why we have nursing homes, or no homes for the aged, but they come with a cost. What happens? What is the future? You don't have that community spirit because everybody's in their little cellule. They come from work, they go home, cook dinner, they go to bed. You don't have that community where, I remember Daddy saying in a Lakou in Virgin Lane, often they would have belly dancing. Either in Formico is by the church.
Is not by the church, right?
Yes. Or the other one by the Nichols's home.
By the where?
The Nichols's home down there.
Oh, that is by maybe that is Lakou Orange.
Okay.
Lakou
So they
Orange.
used to have, and he said one day he saw this woman dancing. And the men are saying, she'll beat him. The woman danced. They danced together until the man fell down, The woman didn't stop. But the man probably had a few drinks in his
Let's take a telephone call. Let's take a telephone call. Good evening.
Cecil, right in my yard.
What's that?
Right back, calling me.
Repeat yourself, please.
Take your time.
I told you that right in the yard I live in there.
What happens there?
The belly,
With the belly.
Who's speaking?
but my post speaking.
Muku Popo.
Popo.
Okay.
Yeah, John, yeah, she, yeah, that's a don't come for the for night.
You remember any Bella songs?
Yeah, I know that.
Sing one for me.
I will look about
Sing one for me.
the belly song. I can't sit back. I think you know.
I must get to meet you.
All right. We can move on. My mother is your cooking.
Aileen know him very well. He lives. His mother used to live in Mapopo. She used to live adjacent to the cinema.
Arawak?
Arawak, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No?
I'm from Virgin.
He's from Virgin Lane.
No, he's from Virgin Lane. Isn't Mapopo who was living adjacent to the cinema your mom?
No, sir. My mother from Christian from Montana.
Oh,
What's his-
Muko, we call him Popo. We call that. Isn't are you not the brother of Popo, deceased police officer?
No, he's my uncle, very youth.
Oh, okay. So you came from that lineage. Okay. I always thought that lady was your mother.
No. My mother from Montana.
Okay.
Yeah, Carrick. Carrick. Related to all this carrick.
Yeah. But
Anyway, thanks. Breaking up is
yeah, but one of the greatest ballet dancers was a lady who lived next to me.
Mm.
It's a lady called Titin.
Mm.
And she used to be working on the Lime Estate with, her, I think, when the limes was a big thing in Dominica. And so she would go dancing in many Lacous. And one of the areas she used to dance a lot in was in Lagon.
Mm-hmm.
She was a fantastic ballet dancer.
Do you know her children?
Yes, she has a child who is. She comes off and on to Dominica. So one of those good days, I'll check you out.
Please.
She's now in England. Her name is Shirley.
Shirley. What's his surname?
Her surname I don't remember, but she's married now. So she comes off and on to Dominica. She has a house next to me
on Stibber Street.
on Stibber Street, that big house.
Mm-hmm.
So her mother, it was her mother.
Okay.
Great ballet dancer.
Yeah, but they always had belly dancing, especially for Carnival.
No, we're going to come to the Bel Air. We're going to come to Carnival. Shadok. You remember Shadok? Any of you remember Shadok?
No.
Yeah, man.
Shadok, the yellow, sorry, not yellow, the pink orange.
Yeah, man.
Miss Mary used to make that, do that well. Pink orange, you boil that with sugar,
Yes.
and you would eat this thing, man. The orange skin.
That is
Can you-
Shadak. Oh,
Shadak.
Shadak. Yes,
Yes,
yes, of course.
man.
You
Of
know,
course. Mm.
that was. I mean, Aileen, that was
They call that a
something.
kind of coffee.
That is like a delicacy, and people
Yes.
don't do that anymore.
No, they don't do that
People
anymore.
can't
The
even
last,
do it.
the last set, I think, were the, how you call them now? France.
Yes, Francis used to do it. Miss Mary used to do it. My neighbor also used to do it. Miss Mary. Rennie
But
Kennedy
do you
used to do
even
it.
get Shadak anymore? The,
No,
the,
you
the,
don't
the
get
type
Shadak.
of thing?
Yeah, you don't even get Shadek. The pink
Yes.
orange,
grapefruit.
the pink grapefruit,
Yeah.
and you would clean.
There is a pink grapefruit, but there's also the fruit Shadak.
Shadok. Yeah,
Yes.
Shadok. Yeah, that was really nice.
Oh, yes.
No, Aileen, your
Yes.
father.
Yes.
But before we go to your father, let's go to the telephone quickly. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, that lady that you all were looking.
Good evening to you, caller.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, the lady that they were looking for, Shirley, her name is Shirley Williams.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
She's in Dominica.
You're welcome.
She's in Dominica.
She's in Dominica right now, yes.
Where in Dominica we
Her
can find?
her grandmother's name was Titin, and her mother's name was Louisa Bellot.
Wow.
So where can we find her in
Fantastic.
Dominica?
No, she hasn't come yet.
I think she lives down the bottom near Federation Drive,
Okay.
somewhere down there.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you very much. See the power of the media.
You know?
You didn't right away. You got that.
Yeah, Shirley Williams. Yeah,
And
she
I'm
was
sure
married.
you're going to keep in touch with that person.
Yeah. Whenever she comes, I'll let you know.
Yes, thank you.
No, Aileen,
Yes.
your father was an avid carnival lover.
My father?
Yes.
No way.
You serious?
No, my mother.
Your mom. Your
My
mom. You're
mom.
correct. Your
Oh,
mom.
yes.
Yeah, your mom. She always in this band.
Bourgeois
what they call
No,
them?
they call them. They always
were-
every year they have this.
Yes.
Every year.
The Matadors?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
Revelers.
No, not revelers. No.
No.
There's a name that they have.
Ban Milat?
No, I'm
No,
trying to
who's
remember the
that now?
name.
The fella have the well, I know he should just mention his name, Reggie, up on the hill there by the Methodist Church.
Someone said Ban Milat, but no, it's not
old,
Ban Milat.
Old school?
Not Ban Milat. Boy, every year they're out.
They had one this year.
Every year, I tell you, every year.
Reggie Safra is in that.
Reggie Sever is in it.
Yeah, what do you call them now? I know it's the
Thunderbirds?
school. No.
No.
Old time sake?
Old time sick.
Old time sake.
Old time sick.
Oh, but no, that is Mommy never no. Mommy never was in
Old
Old
Time
Time
Sick?
Sick. No,
Uh-uh.
Mommy used to be in Revelers, and even when before she was never in Ban Milat. That was Auntie Aileen and them next door. She used to go out with she used to go on her own, and she used to love to go in the middle of the band. Until a man said, "Madam, that's no place for you. Move on the side." So, but she used to love to be in the
Yes.
band and feel the movement and feel the vibration of the people. That is how she was. She loved it, and we used to be watching her from the veranda, petrified.
But your father is so
No, Daddy did not go
You
out.
serious?
No.
But I swear Mr. Burton used to be, because what I used to see is a lot of people would hang out onto the veranda.
Oh, that.
Yeah. And
He would offer them drinks.
And he'd offer them drinks.
Yes.
So I
Because Mommy was out in the band.
Oh, I
He was always on the
Miscalculated.
veranda looking out for his friends.
Yes.
So they would always drop by for a drink and so, but to go out in the band, Daddy didn't like.
but Carnival was the
rough
other
up.
thing.
Right.
But Mommy loved that.
What about your siblings?
To a certain extent. But you see, I'll tell you something. Excuse me. When the house was the old house, the smaller house, we would watch from the jealousies, and there used to be a lot of fights.
Yes.
And I never really liked Carnival because of that. Because people were hot and they would take stones. And it was a period of revenge. And you would see these people going down the road, the dark people with this red blood flowing. And, I couldn't take that on. But we used to go into floats. Mommy did a few floats. She did some floats for CDC. And she did a float for us, what with the old woman in the shoe. Mm-hmm. And yes, mainly that was the only one I think she did for us. And for the children in the Lakou, the Larons and all the restaurant. And she did for CDC when she started working there. Mm. But when we were teenagers, we ran a little bit of Carnival. I think Frances liked that as well. But we were always on the side of the band or the back of the band, but never in the middle of the band. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what about the preparation of Carnival when Carnival was coming? What you would have heard your mom and your dad would be speaking about Carnival?
Well, we would
knowing that the route is on the street.
Yes. Carnival, when we were growing up, was nice. Okay. Was not loud. Let's put it that way. It was comfortable. Because we had Lakou cabwits, we had steel pan. These were the main instruments that we had. And for Juve, you hear this Lakou cabwit coming up the road. You're getting excited and goose pimples, and you're going out on to the jealousies, and you put it opening them for you to see the people coming up. And that was lovely because it was soft. It woke you up nicely. You had this lovely feeling. You know that you're home, you're in Dominica, and this is your culture. And it was beautiful. Then later in the day, you would have a little steel pan, more Lakou cabwits, sometimes a little jingping. I think the Ban Milat had a little jingping. And steel pan, I remember Harry Royer, up Cock Street. He also had a steel band. Miriam used to play with them at one point. And gradually, things changed to a little bit of hi-fi. And now you have these things blasting all over the road. And that is uncomfortable. It's not pleasant. It hurts your ears. The houses vibrate. And it's just very uncomfortable. And the music that they play again is something else. Two little notes, pam, 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 and you just go in the room, pam, 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 pam. No. That was not Carnival. Carnival was singing. Everybody sang. When there was a calypso, like for instance, Tenny Tongue, everybody was singing Tenny Tongue. There were other nice calypsos that I don't remember their names. I'm getting old. And but they had melody, and you sang, and you enjoyed singing, and you danced with the rhythm. But now a band can stand up there with, and it's electronic, mechanical. You just have pam, 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 pam. Oh no, come on.
Someone is in Luciana Jean-Pierre. She said that it's 2 a.m. in the UK. I should be going to bed, but the conversation is too interesting.
Lovely.
And another person, Deborah Gage, said Lakou was on fire. Another person said that nice love Lakou Kabrit. Carnival is liberation. Free up. The vibes today, hélas. So, Aileen.
Yes.
Someone just said to me that I should remind you that your father had one of the best black pudding.
Yeah. That's Lauren. That's our little sister. Oh, yes. Daddy made a fantastic black pudding. I'm telling you. That's he had and we have it now, an old recipe that's years old, which he got from Macressy. So that can tell you how old that recipe is. And you can call it an elite black pudding because it had potted meat in it. It had olive oil. It had bacon. So when but I tried to do this, but I didn't succeed. I asked somebody to do it and to follow the recipe, but it did not come out as I expected it to. And there was a ceremony, and all 5 girls were there. Well, 6 of them because Mommy and Lauren, so 6 of us. And we had to be cutting scythe. But the thing is that Daddy put in about the amount he would buy, like he put in $5 scythe. No, $5 scythe then and $5 scythe now. 2 different things. And the scythe we got before had a flavor. It even used to burn our eyes sometimes when we were cutting it. The scythes today, I don't find they have much flavor, so that was missing. Then he would use a lot of olive oil, bacon, and I think potted meat as well, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a rich black pudding. And these are 2 things he could do, black pudding and ginger beer. And he ensured that he mastered them, and he did.
No crabbacks?
No, he didn't do crabbacks. One time he tried, but the length of time, but all of us again had to be there picking the crabs. And the length of time it took, oh boy.
Reginald Winston asked me to ask you.
Yes.
Do you remember that song of that magistrate, Mr. Copeland?
Yes, vaguely.
Vaguely?
Yes.
Oh my God, I was going to ask you to sing a few lines.
Copeland is a bad man.
Yes.
You know song that?
The thing is that
No.
I have not thought of those songs for a long time. And so it's like in my hard drive. I have to.
What's his name? Idol.
Idol, yeah.
Yes.
Idol
Or you Fred Mr. Copeland, something like that. I don't Fred Mr. Copeland.
Mr.
Copeland.
Come on, somebody in the audience must know that.
Yes.
Tina, come on.
Yes. Alvin, you must know that. Tina, you must know that.
Idol.
Please help us.
Ian Jackson knows the song because
Yes.
it's his father.
Me don't Fred Mr. Copeland, something like that,
Mr. Copeland is a bad man.
And I'm waiting for you to call us so that you can sing for us.
Right,
You know?
Probably if he starts it off, I might be able to continue because that's what happens,
Yeah, that
you
was
know.
a nice song.
This is why it's nice to as you say, the power of the
Right.
the radio.
And
yeah?
Mr. Copeland was a
Ways.
magistrate in
Yes.
Dominica, and he was taking no nonsense. He was just like you
Right.
follow. And they were
I
afraid of
afraid
him.
Mr. Copeland, yeah. Come on, somebody. Where Noreen? Noreen, aren't you around?
Noreen is there. She's there. You know. Let's see if somebody's on the telephone going to help us out. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening.
Yes.
Just to strengthen a point that Auntie Aileen just mentioned. Men, well, Auntie,
That's Henry.
yes, Auntie. My adopted godfather, D.K. Burton, did not run Carnival, but men, yes. Just that I can't remember what band she used to follow, but yes.
Yes, she loved yes, Henry, you're right.
Right.
I'm
you.
watching you on Facebook, Auntie.
Lovely. Thank you for watching, Henry.
And that song, that song.
Thank you.
That song,
Yes, Auntie.
that song, Mr. Copeland, came out in the 1960s, 62, 61, 62, I think, thereabout, when he won the Calypso King.
Apparently, some persons giving different lines. Someone says, where is it now? Don't play with Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Mr. Copeland Paka Copeland.
yes.
Yes.
Is Mr. Copeland Paka Copeland? Don't worry with Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
I really want someone to
Yeah.
You know?
Very nice song. It was Road March.
take it light, Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Take it light, Mr. Copeland.
Take it like Mr. Copeland.
I don't have no
We don't
previous
have Mr.
conversation.
Yes. It was a nice song.
Yes.
I hope that person is going to give us the information. Good evening to you, caller. I hope you're going to sing for us.
Why, take it like
Mr. Copeland, yes.
We don't have no previous
Mr.
conviction.
Copeland, yes.
That is why I get in collusion.
Right.
And I say, why, take it like Mr. Copeland. This time I hope you understand. Me have no previous conviction.
Bravo.
Okay, that's Jaco. That's my dad.
Lovely.
I'm driving. I don't say you guys. Let me give you a call.
Boy.
Nice program.
Yeah, thanks. But you said
man.
Jacko would call. Thanks, Jacko.
Yeah, man. Cool. All right.
Boy, Jacko, you said Jacko would call and Jacko called. Yeah, I know.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks, Jacko, for doing that. Yeah, thank you very much. You know, so yes, Aileen.
Yes.
So in your growing up, quite a lot happened. You have been involved in culture. Where in the family that the culture came from, the ballet? Because every time we talk about the ballet, you get excited. The Jinping. Where all of this came from? Who
From my maternal side, I think the drums come from my African heritage. I must have some African blood. Because I think I'm the only one of the family that likes the ballet of my sisters. Mommy probably would have liked it too, but the more, and from her family, yes, from my maternal family, Jinping. My aunts, Auntie Pam, Auntie Sin, they were always running Carnival. Auntie Pam, when we would go up to Shuffler, she would go and get the band in Eggleston to come down to play for us. And it was a small house with a wooden floor, and boy, we used to have fun. And I just think, yes, and the ballet, I think, comes from my African heritage. I must have a little bit of African blood in me, definitely.
How much of this lady that you know of? I'll tell you, help me.
Who's that?
This lady that we speak of highly in Dominica.
Mrs. Cordero?
Cordera.
Mrs. Cordero, yes.
I should also, before you go, I should also say to you that you're 243 live views on Facebook. I'm not too sure the numbers on YouTube, but go ahead.
Okay. Mrs. Cordero was one of the families, well, she was one in a million who really appreciated the traditional culture of Dominica and made every effort to promote it and to maintain it. And to her, we are very grateful. The other person is Irene Peltier. She is my cultural icon in my Lakou, because she would dress in her duet. And actually, she's the one who dressed a lot of people like Mrs. Cordero in duet and jeep and lent them her jewelry, to when they were dressed up. So she is the one I remember coming down Cork Street with her little bouquet of flowers to receive the dignitaries when they landed at the jetty, the Roseau jetty. And I always admired her, the way she walked. Nothing vulgar, very stately, but with gam, what we call gam, which is, a little friend of mine called it Creole. Oh, there, the word will come with. Creole elegance. Voila. Creole elegance. And that was Irene Peltier. And she was the real thing. She got all her gold from Martinique, her headpieces from Martinique, and her dress, you know. And she loved it. So she would go down with her bouquet of flowers to receive. And I used to watch her from my little portico going down the road. So she's the one I remember. And later on came Mrs. Corderon. But they would mostly have those things for Carnival. And when Mr. Leblanc initiated National Day, so she would have huge groups of children dancing, and that was just a spectacle to see.
Someone told me that she used to go to Wesley High School. Someone just sent me a message and said that.
She taught at Wesley High School.
What someone just said to me.
Right. She taught at Wesley High School. She had a school of her own, her first daughter told me. Way in the beginning, she had a school of her own. And then she got married, went away, and then she returned to Dominica, and then she taught at Wesley High School. But she always had this love for the traditional dancing, pardon me, and the national dress.
Someone asked me to ask you, what about Farrell Marco?
Oh gosh, I want some pictures. Has anybody got any photographs of the two of them? I mean, these are people I grew up with them, seeing them in Cork Street and in Queen Mary Street in the Carnival bands, and they were two gentlemen who dressed up with duets, and they looked beautiful.
Good evening. Good evening, caller.
There's a delay.
Hello, good. That's why I try to tell people when they call, just put the volume of once the phone starts to ring, just put up
Say
the.
it again.
Good evening to you, caller. Well, you'd have to call back. I just want to say to you, whenever you call, please, those of you with your device.
Well, let me tell you something.
Hold on. When you call, please just lower down the volume of your device, and then you'll hear me say good evening to you, and then you speak. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, yeah, I think it might be my last call for the evening. You know, I'm listening to Miss Burton talk about Miss Irene Peltier. She was my Morph neighbor, because we were right in the Morph. And every time I hear Irene Peltier, there's so much gradation about this lady. She's like an icon. She's a legacy. But it's so sad the way she went in her latter days. I really wonder why. Who was her relatives? Because, I mean, I grew up knowing Miss Irene. Everything is Miss Irene. I used to go and find X4 on the cellar, go and feed a pigeon, go and scrub, Carnival give us rum to drink, little boys in the street. You know, and it's so sad knowing that how she left the world. A lady of remarkable, tremendous. There's no adjective to describe her when it comes to culture and independence. But the way she left the world in a later age is very sad. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you so very much for your contribution on that aspect. I wish you would have said to us how she passed, but that's okay.
Well,
Right.
I know she had a. It was very sad. She used to even struggle. She used to struggle to get on to, bring food. As a matter of fact, when she had food there, I know, probably a longevity. The things she ate in the early stages of life probably kept her, because I can recall sometimes the food used to be on the veranda. She had a big cat. The cat used to eat the food. She used to eat from the same food. It was very tough, but such is life. I don't know what's the reason for the way she went, but it was sad. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I was not in Dominica when she died.
Right.
I was in England.
Right.
I don't know what arrangements were made for her, but I know that she had one or two people around.
Yeah.
Or not around, but people who lived with her. But I wouldn't know what the story was.
Okay.
Well, another person who used to dress with a warp duet was a fella they call Lai.
Whoa.
Well, the two best dressed people in warp duet, Marco Fellas, was Laie, who lives on Finns Lane, and of course Boboy.
Boy and Farrell. I'd
Yeah,
so love to get photographs
they were
of them.
beautiful guys. They
Yeah.
dressed well.
And they were not uncomfortable in the warp duet. They wore it. I mean, now to try to get the boys to do that, nobody wants to do that. They all shy and uncomfortable. But that was part of it. And this is what I tried to do through Rosa Cultural Group. I succeeded 1 or 2 years, but then people move on. But this is what I wanted to just bring back all the old traditional things, you know.
It is strange, Aileen, that when we were growing up, that we would have that understanding from other societies that the so-called bourgeoisie elite did not admire or appreciate the culture. But you made it very clear very early that you did not see, or your family did not see yourselves that way. But at the same time, the society saw you all that way. How did you all were able, or how were you able to get, you said your aunts would have helped, but to get to understand the dance and the reason for the dance and the description of the dance, the dress, the hats? I mean,
I did a lot of research. You see, I wasn't born with the knowledge. I did a lot of research. Every old person I spoke to, senior citizen, let's call them that way, I met, I would ask. And my aunts, who were very culturally minded, my aunts, this I'm telling you, from my maternal side of the family, I got a lot of information. I got a lot of information from Mommy. Because remember, Mommy lived in Bath Estate. She grew up in Bath Estate. So she saw people acting as porters to bring the children to be baptized. Because the mothers couldn't go with their children to be babies to be baptized because they had to stay in bed for 14 days. And the culture at the time was that you baptize your baby as soon as possible, within a day or two, because if this poor baby dies, she will go without being baptized. The baby will go and be forever in limbo. This was the understanding within the Catholic Church. So you had to baptize your babies in 1 or 2 days. The mother stayed home 14 days because she had to rest. So we had porters who carried the babies to church. And Mommy was privy to all that. She saw those things from Bath Estate. Then she saw the different levels of wear of the duet. When the people were on the fields, they had old duets. When they served at table, they had another type of duet, and their heads were tied differently. And when they were dressed up going to Mass, it was another set. So I got a lot of information from Mommy. Because she also had that passion. It's just that Mommy was a very quiet person, so she didn't express herself. So I think she was happy that I was expressing her sentiments as well. So she was coming through, you know. My grandfather, her father, also danced all the European-based dances, from the quadrilles to the lancers to the flirtations, the mazouks, all those things. They had a big drawing room where they lived in Bath Estate, the plantation house. And
a number of people are actually agreeing with you, you know, as going through my Facebook.
Yes.
292 people are actually looking up. By the time the night is finished, you will know what the numbers are. I can imagine the amount of people that are sharing your conversation. Really interesting conversation that we're having.
yes.
No, you know, Aileen, I've not asked you about light and water.
But we haven't finished with this thing yet.
No, I know. I'm coming.
You go back to it?
I'll come back to it.
Because this is very important.
Yes.
I want to tell people that they need to research their history.
Yes.
It doesn't come to you naturally, and there's a lot of material out there. And now that we have the means and the equipment, everybody has a cell phone, everybody has YouTube. Do your research on your country. Dr. Lennox Honeychurch, I thank God for him every day that he was born in Dominica, because he was one of those, he's still interested in history, and he's recording, he's writing, he's documenting. And we need another Dominican to come up and do the same. I am doing it in another aspect. I never thought I would write, but I'm writing now because I understand that it is a crucial period where modern technology is taking over, and our children still have not learned all that they need to learn about their culture. So we have to document.
Well, let me ask her a question, Cecil.
Go ahead.
Right. Is it that the cultural aspect of you would have termed you, let us say, the independent radical? What I would say, radical in the sense of your innovation in terms of the way you think, in terms of your documentation of the culture, that you think it should be recorded. And I was very happy to hear you say that you're now in the process of writing and leaving behind a legacy that people could follow.
Yes.
How far are you into that?
Well, excuse me. I realized when I started the Rosa Cultural Group with, actually it was Ken Vidal who had that idea. Ken Vital. He's the one who had that idea because we did a traditional, once I came back to Dominica from Guadeloupe, the first time I went to Guadeloupe, I decided I have to dance for my country. No, let me go back a little further. In my childhood, when Mr. Liblas started with National Day celebrations, we would be having lunch at table, and there were going to be cultural gala. There was going to be the cultural gala at the Botanic Gardens, and we would hear this music coming down. They always had their jingping playing, and you hear these trucks. Remember the Bedford trucks coming down the road? The country, the villages would be coming down to perform in Roseau. And that music was just so sweet to my ears. And Nenen taught me the mazouk. Because they danced those things in their drawing rooms. They didn't, it was homely things. They were not public at the time. These were things people did in the villages and in their homes if they had a big drawing room. So
it's interesting that you said that the people were actually coming from the country with their music.
Yes.
You know, almost like a practice.
It wasn't a practice. It's just their joie de vivre, the way the culture, the way they felt it. They loved the music.
Wow.
They loved their
Take
culture.
your time. I like that expression. What did you say?
Joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre. You see
Yes.
that?
That's French.
It's so romantic. Joie de vivre.
Bonsoir.
But that is how it was. It was part and parcel of them.
Wow.
They didn't move without their music. I remember people coming from excursions. They used to have excursions in the days going by.
Yes.
And people from Port Michel, if they're going down to the north, to discover the island. I don't know if they do excursions anymore. But they used to have excursions. Every time they come down the road, you have a little jingping. And they're singing. We don't sing anymore. Because all carnival bands, people used to be singing.
Wow.
Yes, the lavoué. Yeah?
Yes, you had a chantwell and a lavoué.
Yeah, chantwell,
Everybody was singing. You didn't have hi-fi. I didn't have my house rattling around me, my heart pumping, wanting to leave Roseau to go somewhere else.
All right.
It was just so beautiful.
You had the word, the joie de vivre.
Vivre. V-I-V.
The way, what is that translated in English?
The joy of
living.
The joy of living.
Yes, the joy of
The
living.
expression. Oh, it's
Yes.
very romantic.
I find it has been reduced. It's no longer a joy of living. It's for some people it probably is, but for us who knew differently, it is trying to survive.
Under stress.
Yes.
Heavy music.
Yes.
Noise.
So you have gone to 316 views, 100 on Facebook, 165 views on YouTube. So it speaks volume of what you're saying here tonight.
I think everybody's just feeling nostalgic. I wish a lot more people would call in.
Good evening.
Remember that song?
Good evening.
Remember that song?
Speak up, please,
Speak up,
caller.
speak up,
Sometimes
caller,
I have to be
speak up.
asking you to speak up every time.
Listen to me. Yeah,
Yes, we sing that sometimes. Qui est Huxley ba moi? Qui est Huxley ba moi? Qui est Huxley ba moi? Ta 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 ta.
You know somebody.
We're not calling the name.
Huxley.
You don't know Huxley.
I don't know Huxley.
Oh, you don't know Huxley.
Huxley was living on Fields Lane, and then Huxley went and lived Church Lane. Huxley on the ports.
Well, there are two Huxleys, you know. Huxley
Oh,
Shillingford.
Huxley, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Huxley Shillingford.
Oh, you're talking about Huxley Shillingford.
Huxley Shillingford lived in Havis Shillingford, where he used to live there.
By
On Cock
Mahmoud.
Street. On Cock Street.
Yeah, on
Mahmoud.
Cock
Cock
Street.
Street, yeah.
And then,
Cock Street.
and
That
then
big
he-
house. That big
big
Shillingford
house
house. Yeah, that's where. Yeah.
So you see, look at that. This is social commentary. People got a little sip of something and they made a song. Some people had to go and pay the composers not to play the song if they caught word of it, and the words, they say they'd have to go and pay them. Please don't sing this
that
song.
song.
It's their business outside.
Someone said,
But now what we singing? What are we singing now? Tell me.
But
That's a different story. We're not going into that yet.
but
no?
hear that other one. Jose la pla
Punuesa.
Jose la pla, you know?
No, Jose la
La
pla
punuesa.
Jose.
Jose.
C'est swinging stars qui a fait ça. Jose.
It was baby pen rice.
It was what?
my pen rice, baby pen rice.
Say the words.
Baby pen rice. That
Uh-huh.
was- they changed it to say
Swinging
Sister-
Stars.
Yeah, but the lady name was baby pen
So it
rice.
was Jose la pla
Punuesa.
Jose.
Say baby pen rice.
C'est
qui
baby
a fait-
pen rice
Ah,
qui a fait
c'est
ça.
ça, Jose. So now they say swing stars. Yeah. I mean, you saw the creativity in our people. I don't know what Creole culture we have now. I cannot see that.
Yes.
It's disappearing.
Very true.
Someone said, Reginald Winston said, yes, the wrongness teams would have Jing Ping Band on the bed truck when they went
Yes.
to play wrongness.
Yes, it was part and parcel of the culture. We have a lot of electronic equipment now, and people just playing 3 notes. And you get stuck on those 3 notes. No, man.
Someone said, Wine and Jones says, Erica, why you like to put your boom boom outside?
Yes.
Another woman. She
Again,
had a
and
big
that
boom
song
boom.
has not died, eh?
No.
Erica, why?
Erica, why yo?
Yes.
Erica, why? Erica, why you like to put your boom boom outside?
Yeah.
Put your boom boom outside.
Inside.
Boom boom outside. Oh, Erica, why you like to
Put your boom boom outside. Yeah, a big song.
These
Yes,
songs
people,
had
you know.
melody.
Yes.
They were
yes.
comical. There was humor. What are we finding now in the songs that we sing on Carnival?
Nothing.
Okay. That's another topic. Let's go.
Yes. So Aileen, I know that you did enjoy your Lakou life.
I
So-
did
so
very
people,
much.
People who may not have understood when they saw you into the whole culture may not have understood where you actually got this embedded in you, and you are very clear tonight, and you tell us exactly where it came from.
Yes.
From your maternal. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, such a good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm good evening to your guest. Good evening to Brian.
Good evening.
I know you spoke about the tablet. Just made some today myself.
Good.
Yeah, that's just my confectionery, light confectionery.
Uh-huh.
But for the guest, I have a couple questions. I guess.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, caller.
Oh, we lost him.
I'm not so sure what happened. Let's take another call. I'll call back. Good evening to you, caller. Sorry about that. We'll call back too. 306 people are viewing while this is going up. Aileen, you're really talking about the good old days. You know? So yes, Aileen. So I want you to help us to have that understanding of Aileen, that person from that yard. And that person really helped in exploding the Rosa Cultural Group, making it what it's supposed to be. Just before you do that, let's go to the telephone again. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening.
Good evening. I'd like to ask Mrs. Butler about Eva Butler. I think she said it was her cousin. Because I went to school with her. I'd like to know what happened to her, please.
Who is that? Which one?
Which are the butlers?
Trevor Butler.
Trevor Butler. That's the young lady.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what has happened to Trevor. Actually, I just wish that I could get in contact with all these people. I wish they would call in and let us know where they are. Because, we're going down memory lane. Trevor was a cousin. She was a relative. But I really don't know what has happened to her. Because, I left, went to England, and I worked in Guadeloupe, and, life takes its path. I really don't know what happened to Trevor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Aileen, before you answer, someone says that at least not over romantic. The past masquerade songs too much. They were like basically too much. And why the person saying they were too much?
Yeah.
Some of them were scandalous.
Yes.
And could be destructive to the upper class.
That's why I said sometimes they had to pay the people who were making up the songs. They had to pay them to keep quiet.
Oh, good evening. Sorry.
Good evening. Evening. I know that like a piece topic passed, but I was trying to give a point on Auntie Aileen's part of the songs they used to sing before, because my grand aunt, my mother's cousin, was a chateau. And when it's Carnival, we would gather Newton. And she was one who made No More Love for You Again. And that song, Mama Mwe Bama Yo Boutique Mwe Sato Avai Po Lavi Mwe.
Woo, sing that for me, girl.
So that was the story.
Hold on.
We have to record that,
You have to sing that. She wants you to sing it again. Let's go again.
Mama Mwe Bama Yo Boutique. Sa toi vai pour la vie moi jeune garçon qui pas ni l'argent déshabillé sous côté c'est ça moi qu'a dit oui c'est pas ça moi qu'a dit oui. You see that she was saying my mother give me all her money to work for myself. If you don't have money, don't come in my shop, don't come on my counter. So these were the stories, and these things were so good. My aunt sang No More Love for You Again, and when she died she wanted us to, before she goes she said, make sure you sing that song by my grave, and we sang it.
Oh, lovely.
It was Muletin Woodman. Yes. No More Love for You Again,
Yeah.
And the one about Jose Lapla.
Yes.
I want to call people name. There was a group of ladies from Newton. It wasn't swing it as it was Les Spinats number one. Jose, but because my aunt, my cousin, my mother's cousin used to sing those songs. And Carnival, she used to sing this big red piece of thing they have of tying the tires by rolls. She had a big bottom like mine. And when she tied that, and we sit on Newton, and we were going down, we had all our poker with from Newton, and that was the joy of it. Of course, we have all our poker with. That was the joy of it, and we had to sing those songs. That was the joy of it. Not now, Auntie Aileen, all those nasty business they're singing. But anyway, according to her, that's the next story. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for calling.
I just also want to say good evening to Anita Bully. She's listening. She's on Facebook.
Wow, that's
and she's
wonderful.
listening. I just want to say good evening to you, Anita. And that's Glenda, a very good friend. I know the voice very well. And she has those things well to her heart, as she said, her granny taught her quite a lot of those things. And I can imagine, Aileen, your involvement in the culture made you excited, every time that you have to do a performance, or every time you have to prepare yourself for a group to do a performance, you'd be excited about that.
Excited and very stressed. When you have a passion for something, I cannot control what is within me. I have been given the confidence from my parents to do what I want to do, what I need to do, as long as it is honest and done correctly. And I just go ahead. I've never... Mommy has encouraged me. Daddy, I remember after I did classes and we had the graduation of the ballet, Daddy came to see me dance. So I have been encouraged by my parents. And, we have been taught to be independent, to do what we want to do, as long as we do it honestly, correctly. And I don't really worry about what people say. I'm only concerned about what my family thinks about me.
That's good. That's really
And
good.
if I can impress other people, that is fine. But once I do not upset my family and they're happy with what I'm doing, I am happy and I will carry on.
So what about other areas in Dominica during that period in your growing up in terms of the culture? What did you visit these places to see the difference of that one dancing,
Well,
Mazouk and
when I worked with the cultural division, I went island wide. But before then, I used to go to the cultural gala to see the people dancing. And this is when I managed the Rosa Cultural Group, because I was president for about 10 years until I decided the young people should take over and learn and do their own thing. But I like to watch. I like to watch people, and I learn things. And I would see the differences in the dances, and I would encourage the girls to do the same, or not the girls, the members of the group. And when I worked with the cultural division, I went island wide, and I was able to learn a lot of things. Songs. I did a lot of recordings, which should be at the cultural division. A lot of recordings of the songs. I think some of them they have put out. And
just want to sorry about that, Aileen. Someone's on the line. I was holding the person for a while, but you can go ahead.
Yes, so there are differences in dances, and depending on
as you're saying, I don't want to hold the caller long again, so let's just go to the caller.
Ahead.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, Cecil, good evening. I just called a few minutes ago, but we'll move on. Yeah, an observation I want to just make with the guest. Very, 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 very good information, very good history. And I like the way she explained about being independent. And, the way she spoke is you use your mind to be creative and to do things the ordinary mind not teach you to do. And I appreciate that. I have a question, and don't take it personal. Just my observation. At 74, what is keeping you so young? You look like 60. Yeah, 60. And I'm listening, thank you.
Oh, I don't know. Thank the good Lord.
Boy, the rooftop man is something else. but the man is observing
Thank
you.
the good Lord.
The man looking at you at 74, looking so young and strong. The man wants to find out the recipe.
Probably
boy.
because I'm doing the things I
The
like to
culture
do.
man keeping you young, man.
Yeah, I think so. And the good Lord. He sees that I'm still necessary on this earth.
And what is nice though, Aileen, is your hairdo.
Oh, this is what I'm glad you mentioned that, because when people look at you, and as you say, they label you and they call you bourgeois. So you mustn't have Congo in your hair, you mustn't have Congo curl in your hair. But if you know how long that I have wanted my hair to be combed like that, and I'm happy I can do it now with no thing. People tell you, so you come in your hair, you should have curls. No, I don't want curls. I had curls when I was going to school. My nanny would curl our hair. This is, people who had hair like me had curls, and they had a bow in the, on the top of your head. But when I would see the girls from the villages coming down to Roseau with their Congo curls, and they're particularly the Congo plaits, I used to admire that. Oh my goodness, I used to admire that. And I'm happy to do it now, and I'm, no problem. I love and it's part of our culture. And actually, I was wondering where this thing has come from, because a lot of other nationalities do have these plaits, and even the Caucasian people are putting this, not so much the Congo curl, but what they call cornrows now. I think that's an American expression, because when I was growing up, I knew it as Congo. And so it's the plaited one. And a lot of even Caucasians are doing that with their hairs now. But I've always loved to see it. So now I'm doing it. I love it.
And someone said to me that Congo is part of the culture.
It's part of the culture, and I'm wondering whether it
hairstyle.
came across to us from Martinique, because after the abolition of slavery in the 1800s, they had indentured workers from Congo. And there are families from Congo still in Martinique, and there's one in Guadeloupe. Kasamba is one in Guadeloupe. And they have traced their roots back to Congo. They have visited. They have been able to find the words of songs that they knew growing up. They couldn't give the translations, probably did not pronounce them properly either, but they were able to trace their roots back to the Congo. And they would call them in Martinique, Les Congo. And you know we have close connections with Martinique and Guadeloupe, so it may have come over to us because we didn't have indentured workers in Dominica.
Someone said to me on Facebook, Aileen is a mix Lakou. She blend in.
Yeah.
Someone says, Rosamond Thomas said, I still Congo my hair. Keep the culture alive.
Yes.
You know?
And I prefer to see than extensions and wearing wigs.
And she said that, Reginald Winston says, you not only had curls, but they were golden. I remember that distinctly.
Yes, that's true. Actually, I was darker when I was younger. I was redder. A darker, kind of reddish color. They used to call me red hands. So he's right. My hair probably was goldish.
Okay.
But yes, somebody did remark to me, but Aileen, your hair has gotten darker. One of my school friends told me, yes, Aileen, your hair has gotten darker. It was goldish. So you're right, Reginald.
I would still want you to tell me, although we're talking quite a lot about the culture, but I want to know a little bit about your growing up in terms of water and lights.
Tell me what you want to know about that.
What did you have lights as a girl growing up?
We had water and lights. We didn't have a fridge. I remember we had something called the ice box, and we used to put ice in it. So we didn't have a fridge at that time. Our toilet was still outside in the little house. The toilet was outside until they built a step and then they put a toilet just next to the house. But before we went to the bathroom.
I'm showing you the picture.
Yes, right. So at the back of this house, Daddy had an extension where a toilet was put in. But to the left of it was an outhouse, and there was a bathroom, and there was a bucket toilet there.
Bucket toilet?
Yes.
What do you mean by
You didn't know that, though?
What was a bucket toilet?
Well, people had to come and carry it out to throw it.
King had to come and get it?
Yes. Oh, yes. And do you know when I went to Guadeloupe in 1978, they still had those type of toilets?
In 78?
Yes, in Guadeloupe, in Basse-Terre. What? Yes. So we had...
Take your time. I need to understand that. You mean they have those kind of toilets in Guadeloupe?
But how you mean is not... When I went there in 78, there was what they call the T-net. The T-net was a truck. And the truck would pass when I was working on night duty with the babies. They would pass to collect those buckets.
Someone told me less than 20 years ago in Antigua, they still had those trucks.
Trucks passing?
Passing in Antigua. You know,
it was a way of life.
So we have done well, man.
Yes, we have done well.
Oh, they would pass with the trucks, Cecil?
Yes.
That's
in
Guadeloupe?
Yes.
And smell.
Yes, and the whole tongue is smelling.
And the T-net passing. T-net capassé.
T-net capassé.
Yes.
So.
What?
I can't recall ever seeing that in Dominica anyway.
The truck passing? No, they didn't. It was
fellas. You just born man, Cecil.
I know, but to have T-net, I do see T-net.
People used to come to remove the buckets.
Oh no, I understand that. I understand that.
Yes.
But to have the truck coming to get it, I can't.
Yes, but how they carry all of those things?
I know this to have cats.
Yeah, the cat. Yeah,
I
the
know
cat.
guys have
They may have
Cabaret.
had cats in Dominica, but I know in Guadeloupe they had a
truck.
truck, a motor truck passing to collect those buckets.
Well, in Dominica at the time when I grew up, the truck, you had no trucks, you had the caboe.
Caboe, yes. So
yeah,
it's
man.
probably that's what they use. But I'm
I-
telling you, in
I call
Guadeloupe
it-
they
I call
had a
it
truck.
cat. I call it cat. You say
I know in
Cabaret.
Dominica a lady used to come to collect it. Where she used to put it, I don't know.
Well, she's
But in Guadeloupe, they had a truck
from where
passing around.
from where you live in. I think the easiest place to go and throw it was by the bay.
Boucherie.
Boucherie.
Or
Gel Boucherie?
I don't
Gel
know.
Boucherie or by the bay?
Or fellas would choose a tush. A tush, you know, a tush.
What's that?
I don't think they choose no tush.
No, they go in a tree.
Yeah, I know,
or in
no.
an area, man.
Oh, that's guys going to do that. But I don't think people would take a thing from a pail and put it in a tush. No, you'd go
to
by
the
the
river.
tush.
You go by the river.
Yeah, you'd go by the tush.
Yeah, very
So Aileen, so you're saying that in your time you had lights.
We had lights, but we did not have a fridge. We had an ice box in this little house. We had an ice box. I remember we used to keep the vegetables in the bathroom downstairs. There was a rack, and it was cool, and the vegetables stayed there. And other things would stay in the ice box. So we'd have to go to Mondays to get ice. And there was the ice box actually. It
cents.
lasted until the Maria in the ice box.
Wow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a relic, man.
Yes.
2 cents for.
We didn't call it the ice box afterwards. We called it the liquor chest because that is where Daddy kept his liquor.
Wow. It graduated.
Yes.
The liquor chest.
I like
Yes.
that.
I
The
like
liquor
that.
chest.
Yes.
From the ice box to,
To the liquor
liquor
chest, yes.
Very interesting.
Wow.
Very interesting.
So by that time you all had light. There are people around you all who did not have. By any
Yes, there were
chance-
people who didn't.
By any chance, you would tell all you give them a branch of light?
No. I don't know. No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Very interesting.
No.
That's rather interesting, eh?
I know for Carnival we've given some people, but no. Oh, they had No. I don't remember people getting a thing. People had their lanterns.
Your father had a hillman, I think it was.
Hillman.
Number
Hillman.
50?
He had 903, a prefect.
903.
903, a little prefect.
Prefect.
Mhm.
Yes.
And your father liked to use short pants.
Oh,
Khaki
yes.
short pants.
Oh,
Khaki
yes.
short-
Well, he
khaki
was
short
in the
pants.
army, so.
Yeah. With sometimes he used to wear his tennis shoe.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, he used to have a kind
yes.
of black and
Black
white
shoe,
tennis
yeah,
shoe.
man.
Or his black shoe.
Sure,
His black,
shoes.
yes.
black,
He had
pointy
sandals,
toe.
black sandals,
Black
yes.
sandals.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember him.
Or he
I
would wear
remember-
his tennis shoes because he played tennis, and then, but he was in the army and they used a lot of short pants, so I think he got quite accustomed to that.
DK Burton.
Did
what
he have a
DK
pipe?
means? Derek?
He had a
Daddy,
pipe?
no, Daddy smoked. He didn't smoke a lot. He never had a pipe. He just smoked before he went to bed after lunch. Yes, he didn't really.
Very interesting, Aileen. Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
In terms of your documentation, are you documenting the songs?
Oh, you're asking you did ask me before I left the cultural division, or shall I say, before my contract was not renewed at the cultural division. I had just finished a document, and it is still there because I did not resign. My contract was not renewed, and I had just finished a document on the national dress of Dominica, and I think there's still copies at the cultural division. So I realized that it was a necessity. So I did that. This is one of the first things I did.
How it was working with Raymond Lawrence? And Pearl.
Raymond is an absolute darling. Could be a little bit more strict sometimes, but I think to have lasted so long at the cultural division as chief cultural officer, God gave him that gift of being able to weather stress very well, because he didn't have a very easy time, especially the groups when they didn't win. He was always getting words, the judges cheat, or it was tough, and there are lots of things I think he wanted to realize at the cultural division. He wanted to have done. But lack of funds was a hindrance for him. And I think lack of interest totally in the culture. I don't think culture plays a very important part in the in any government's manifesto. But so Raymond had the temperament to deal with that, and for so long. So we really have to compliment him on that. He's done a lot to research. Very easy to work with, very accommodating, and yeah, that's Raymond.
What about even working with Pearl? Because I think you're a very good team.
Pearl, yes. And Pearl is my
Gregory
cultural
Rames.
sister.
Yes.
And we get on very well. Up to Saturday, she was with me. We did a recording because we're going to launch that song. And she was with me on keyboards. And we were all workers at the Division of Culture and all professionals in our field. So I mean, I wasn't trained to do research, but we did a little bit. When I did the nursing in Jamaica, the nursing administration course, we went into a little bit of research, and I realized how necessary it was to maintain the culture and to have something left for the children, to at least they can read. So this is why the first thing I did at the Cultural Division was to write a book on the national dress, because I realized nothing had been done then. Ms. Cordero has some nice articles, which I got some information from. But as she said, very little was written about the subject. So I had to go to reference people like Lafcadio Hearn, what's the other one's name now? Thomas Atwood, Lennox's books, Mrs. Cordero's articles, and I did a lot of research going to people, going to the villages, asking. And that's how I did it. A lot of hard work. I was exhausted afterwards, I'm telling you.
Oh,
Writing a book is not easy.
I don't know. You have shown us displays of Creole ties. But before we
Chlorel head ties?
Head ties, yeah. Before we do that, let's go to the telephone. Good evening to you, caller. You're live.
Hello?
Good evening, you're live.
Hey! Good morning, my boy.
Hey, Guada!
Get close to your phone, please.
Guada.
Get close to your phone, please.
Pale puitan saukadi. Nukatano.
Voila, get closer to your phone,
to your
please,
phone.
because we're not hearing anything you're saying. We are not hearing anything you're saying. Speak up.
You could hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. I hear you talking about them people in Capeste. They from Congo. They're still in Guadeloupe.
Yes, I
They
know.
live in Nassambro. Yes, Nassambro.
Nasambu, yes.
Yes. Because I think it have a time in the year they having a big fete
Mm-hmm.
in Guadeloupe. They're still there. They're there. They're there.
Mm-hmm.
They was Congo.
Mm-hmm.
Nassambro.
Yes.
Not so. Madam Magwada want to say something.
Yeah, good evening, Cecil.
Bonsoir.
Rain and the lady. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
It's in Capesteria because it have a year. They're killing a lot of goats. And people will have to go and eat curry goat.
Mm.
On 5 figures. I went there already.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Why they giving you food with plenty meat with? La famille Masambo.
Yes, Masambu.
Okay, yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Welcome, my darling. Okay, bye.
Yes.
La famille Sambo.
Masambu.
Masambo. So yes, Aileen.
Yes, you want to know about the headpieces?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if we're going to start with the Wop Duet. With the Wop Duet, there are 3 main headpieces that you use, depending on what the occasion is. Now, as the Wop Duet is no longer used as it was used before, then I think we could wear it. I will still tell you when those things were worn, and you could wear it with discretion according to where you are going. So the first one we have is called the tête revolvée, because It has one peak going to the side, and it looks like this one here. This one. Whoop. Sorry, I'm on the wrong side with this television thing.
No, we are seeing it. We are seeing it.
You seen it, but my
Yes.
hand is going wrong.
Okay.
That one.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the tête revolver. Right. This is the tête revolver. Because it looks like a gun. I don't know. It has 1 point.
Yes.
Then come here is the tête cassée. No, I have a problem with that one. People seem to call every head tie the tête cassée. When they tell you, boy, and she put on her tête cassée, no matter how it's styled, they say it's the tête cassée. The tête cassée is a particular style. I learned that from my mother. I learned that from 3 ladies, one from Granby, Emmeline McCoy, another one from Dalis, Doris Joseph, and the other one, Yvonne Charles from Point Michel. And I asked each of them to tie me the tête revolver. They tied it, 1 peak. Tie me the tête cassée. No, I don't know if I can explain it that way. When you break something, it has a lot of fragments, right? It's like how Columbus explained Dominico. He crushed a piece of paper, and it came out jagged with peaks and valleys and so on. He says, that's Dominico. That's the principle of the tête cassée. It has peaks and valleys. So it's broken. And this one is the tête cassée. This one is the tête cassée. Yep. Okay? That's the tête cassée. Then the tête allée. Let us try to imagine when you're well dressed. No, okay, let's go back. The tête revolver, according to Mommy, were used by maids when they were serving at table. We no longer have those type of maids, okay, that they dress to serve. So we can use the tête revolver with an ordinary duet. It is a very beautiful headpiece, and it can be worn at any time. Then, with the tête cassée, this was worn when the plantation, the ladies who worked on the plantations would dress themselves when they're going to town. For instance, on a Sunday or on a holiday, they would put on their nice cotton, brightly colored duets, and they would come walking into town, and they had on their tête cassée. So it's like a semi-formal. But when they were going to church, and for ceremonial occasions, they would wear, like for instance, if they were porters, and if they had the money as well, because most of these things, although they said 3 people around that period could tie the head ties, but a lot of people ordered their head ties from Martinique. And this is the tête allée. So when, yep, okay, this is the tête allée. So when you wear it, your head is high in the air because you're well dressed. And as my nenen used to say, you are dressed like a person with high rank and smell. These are one of the old sayings. You dress like you high rank and smell. So that is why it is called tête allée. Now the Dominicans call it tête pichée, because it has that 1 little point. In Martinique, it was called tête allée, or they call it tête chaudière aussi. But in Dominica, it's called tête pichée. I hope we get that right. Anyway, for reference, there are the books of the Cultural Division, and I have just put out those books for children, but okay, so this is a story of a Dominican child, 2 Dominican girls, who are preparing for National Junior Creole. And It describes one of Dominica's traditional national dresses, the Wob Duet, in an easy-to-read dialogue style. It tells a story of two best friends, Martina and Josette, as they prepare for Journée Creole, a yearly event that celebrates the Creole culture of the island. The book is made very interesting and attractive for children, and it has lovely drawings and illustrations which will enable the younger generation to take this traditional outfit to the next generation and beyond. The book is written for children from the ages of 7 to 14, but it would make an excellent tool for teachers of social studies. So this is the book on the Wob Duets. And I'm going to show you photographs of the older people, the senior citizens. And that's me there on the, you see this little girl on the side there? That is me. I must have been about 5 years.
Ute rouge pour vous, man.
Yes, I was ready. They told me I'm not like my grandfather, Keith Burton. This is Maddie D of Fields Lane. She's another one who wore her duet all the time, every Sunday to Mass. Maddie D. You remember her?
I try to remember Maddie D.
She has two...
on Fields Lane?
Yes. High up by Astafans.
By Astafans, okay.
And this other lady here is the Tete Cassie. This lady at the top. Ooh,
yeah.
She's at the top.
Yeah.
You see the age group she's in?
She looks young.
She's not that young now, but she is the mother of a lady I met at that age. So that picture is old. So that's for the Wob Duet. There's the other book, which is a Jeep, and you see Air Sikie, Dominica has Air Sikie landing at the airport. The illustrations, I must say, were done by Giselle Laurent. Sarama Roll. Sarama Roll, she's an artist, a young artist, and she's the one who did all the illustrations in the book. But the layout was done by Giselle Laurent of Dominique magazine. So this one, it describes one of Dominica's traditional national dresses, the Jeep, in an easy-to-read dialogue style. It tells of a Canadian born visiting Dominica with her family for the first time wearing her Jeep and for Heritage Day. So again, it's the same principle, but a different story. And I want to show you some pictures of, this is my darling baby Robinson. And look at her. Look at the type of Jeep she is wearing. Note that she does not have a foulard. She has what they used to use before, which is a night dress. It was long. Night dresses were always long and nicely embroidered and mostly white, very often white. So she has this, and if you notice, there are clips on her shoulders. And when you wear this type of Jeep, you do not wear a foulard. Then she has put an additional petticoat over the night dress, the length of the night dress. Okay? Gentlemen, are you understanding? So you can give lessons after finish. When they call into DBS and ask, you can answer.
It's my culture, and I'm learning. There's something that I know.
So this is Baby Robinson. You remember next door to me?
Yes.
Where the Chinese restaurant is?
Yeah, baby
right.
I spoke about the place.
Baby Mafidudu.
Yeah.
So that is Baby, and she was always amused when I came to. I got a lot of information for her. She was always very amused when I came. She said, "What you in that for?" I said, "But I love it. Tell me." So there we are. She has a pic, and she was a mama mass.
Yeah.
She was a mama mass.
And she always used to have the Ted Cassie on you know.
Baby?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let me get you the. And here I have a picture of this lady. I don't know how many people know who she is. This is my letter. Who wrote that one? Oh, Kathy Kazimi McLean wrote this letter. And we did it in a letter form. And she's Edith Bellot. She's one of those ladies who won a stamp. Edith has died. She was how you call this now? In charge of the National Chorale.
Mm-hmm.
She was director of the National Chorale while she was here. Beautiful voice. Went to Wesley High School, did very well. And she had a beautiful singing voice. She played the piano. Our young people would not know her, but she was director of the National Chorale. And
she was also resident tutor of the
UE.
University of the West Indies
exactly.
branch in Dominica.
Exactly. And I wonder when we're going to have a National Chorale again. Okay, so here. Someone?
Felix Alfred said, watching from Atlanta, one of the founding members of the group SLD, Southern Liberated Dancers in the 70s.
Oh,
yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now here we have a lot of head ties that can be worn with the jeep. Now the one to my left, this one here. This is called the tête foncée. The tête foncée. And it is a traditional head tie for the jeep. When Mrs. Cordero came, she started doing 3 peaks. But we did not have this style of 1 peak, my heart is free, 2 peaks, my so and so. You know, this really came from Martinique. I don't think it applied to Dominica. And because the head ties are tied completely differently to how we tie them in Dominica. But they're the ones. Because you see, in Martinique, when Martinique was in its heyday and the plantations were blooming and there was a lot of finance going around, the women wanted to attract partners. And they wore the duets, not the duet, the jeep. The jeep came in before they wore duet. So they wore the jeep and they were able to attract male partners who would look after them and keep them comfortable. Lots of gold jewelry were gifted to them, and that was a period. We didn't have that period in Dominica. So what I have done now, let me just explain. I have tried to get away from I have developed, let us put it that way, I have developed the same types of, it's more or less, it's tied differently. The head ties are different, and there's a 1 leaf, I call them feuilles. So there's 1 feuille, moins indépendant, 2 feuilles, moins intelligent, 3 feuilles, moins créatif, 4 feuilles, moins fort. And then I have 1 tête papillon, because it looks like a butterfly. Tête anthurium, looks like and the anthurium leaves. And tête hibiscus, which is the peaks are brought over to the side. With wearing the jeep, you can be very creative with your head ties, because it's a outfit of attraction, so that could be okay. So I'm going to show you now the different headpieces, so hope you can read them.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, I'm seeing them. Yes, I'm seeing them.
Is giving me a challenge.
I'm seeing them.
There we are.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So I want children in Dominica to be very confident about themselves. So when they wear the 1 peak, I'm independent. When they wear the 2 peaks, I'm intelligent. When they wear the 3 peaks, I'm creative. And the 4 peaks, I'm strong. I want to just give them this positive perception of the head ties.
So like the French does it different. The French says, if you have 1 peak, I'm single. If you do 2, I'm married.
I think it's the reverse.
The reverse?
The 1 peak is I'm free. The 2 peaks, I'm married. The 3 peaks, there's room for you. You know, this kind of thing.
Yes,
it did not apply to Dominic.
Yeah, for sure.
So there we are. And you can find these books at the paint shop down Cock Street. You know the Garraway paint shop? Opposite Tobacco Factory?
Yes.
And there are a lot of illustrations, a lot of illustrations. Very nicely done by Sarama. Very, very nicely done.
And it's a good time because right now we are almost into the independent mood.
Yes.
And I think it's a good opportunity where we can purchase those books and to have... I think schools themselves should try to purchase them.
I think
and create
so
that
too.
collection, you know?
I think so too.
Yes, because we have to try to preserve that culture.
Yes.
You know?
So there are lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you can order through Jollies as well because they have I think they have a website that you could order. Those people living abroad and all those who are listening to me, get your copy.
Yeah.
You can order from Jollies website, or you can ask somebody to buy you a copy at the pin shop down Roseau in Cock Street, just opposite where Eugenia Chance used to live. You know, the pin shop is just there.
Yeah.
And also there's some placemats which will show you the different types of warp duets, the different colors, because people have the misconception that all duets are made of plaid. They say madras, but it's plaid. But that is not so. I don't know if anybody saw the photograph on Facebook of Lennox Honich's aunt's duet. It's certainly not madras. It's certainly not plaid. It's like a paisley pattern. I have seen squares, checks. I have seen dots. I have seen how do you call it? Well, the paisley pattern is one of them, and I have seen plain. You know, you can use any type of material. For the ordinary duet, you can do it in cotton. For the more expensive occasions or more dressy occasions, you can use more expensive material. I have one in taffeta, but what I can tell you about the taffeta is that you have to picture it well, and you probably have to pin it because it's so light, it slides. But it looks very, very attractive. Again, we have to deal with what we get. We don't get the cottons that we used to get before. We don't get the patterns that we used to before. And I am making a special appeal that people don't use fabric that is obviously African. There are patterns that come from Africa, but they don't look African. So just be mindful of that. Once you say a thing and it looks African, you know, just stay away from it. You can make African clothes with it. But it's just a request because they didn't use that in those days. Making some lovely African outfits because there's some beautiful ones on YouTube when you look. And let's just try to keep the tradition, you know, authentic.
Yeah, very interesting in terms of the categories 1, 2, 3, and 4, which shows different levels, you know, in terms of what you're trying to do. Especially the one where you talk about confidence. You know?
Yes.
It's very interesting because, you know, motivation is very important.
Motivation, yes.
Right, because dressing says something about you. So I noticed that you have done a lot of innovation, which is good in terms of taking it to the next level and make it more accessible to the young people.
Thank you.
Because as you said, the fabrics have changed.
Yes, they have.
And so you know you're trying now to keep in touch with what is available, which would make it truly representative of Dominican, not African.
Yes.
Which is good.
Nelly Sedorival said that, I love your book or your books and your YouTube videos.
Oh, good.
So informative. two persons passionate about culture.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes. And
So for all those who are listening, my YouTube channel is Aileen Keeping It Authentic. And there you can learn from the beginning. I give a whole history and introduction, and then I look at the duet in detail. So all of you who are listening, check my YouTube channel. And I will soon be doing something else where you're going to learn a lot, and you'll be happy too.
And another person, her name is Ann Pemberton. She says,
Yeah.
love from the UK. Very interesting.
Thank you so much.
If you had the headpiece live, would be even much better.
I will do it. I will do it. But you all have to keep on subscribing, because it's not much fun doing it for a few people.
Yes.
All of you who are listening, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give me some encouragement. And I will certainly do the headpieces live for you.
Someone's asking, what is your name? What is the name of your book?
The name is My National Dress, the Warp Duet. And the other one, My National Dress, the Jeep Chemise. Okay?
Could you repeat it?
My National Dress, the Warp Duet. And My National Dress, the Jeep Chemise. And these books I present to you, Mr. Cecil Joseph.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Very
on behalf of
interesting.
DBS
On
Radio.
behalf of DBS.
DBS Radio.
Not for Cecil Joseph.
No.
Well,
I'm giving it's given to me
I present
on
it to
behalf.
DBS
Right.
on behalf. Yes.
Right.
Oh,
But you will collect it for DBS.
That's correct.
So it can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
used. And
let's go to the telephone quickly. Good evening.
Good evening to members and members. Good evening to Mr. Joseph and
Good
Mr.
evening.
Brennan, the great Empress.
Good
But
evening.
Empress, if I took my little 2 cents, you mustn't say older, you have to say young, because you
Yeah.
look very young.
thank you.
And it's not old, it's elder. You see me?
Elder,
But
yes, yes,
if
yes.
If you're 72 years, you are 72 years young, and you look very young. and
Oh,
you
I'm
have a nice
74.
voice. Okay, well, you're 74 years young.
Young,
That's a
thank
great
you.
voice, I love
All right,
that.
that's
But
encouraging.
when
Thank you.
now, you said something earlier on there, you're more than your father tell you now. It's always good to love your country and defend and do things for your country.
Always,
I love
always.
because
That is how we
a lot
were
of
brought
people
up.
Thank you. A lot of people say past that. And the next thing, branch based on the traditional outfit. Right now, the people that have in the beach and all national streets now, we think that is very impossible right now for the people wearing this type of clothes now, although it's so decent.
You know?
Up and running, fireman running, bless up, I'm listening.
And is that two easy questions, Aileen?
Well, were there questions? I thought he was making a statement.
Some comments, yes.
Comments. And this brings us to this thing of independence. You know, you can take independence on many angles. You are independent, you can wear what you want. Nobody's going to force you to do what you want. You know? But you're not going to be accepted in certain circles depending on the fashion, the dress that you wear. And you may not always be correctly dressed depending on where you go to. And this is where you need critical thinking. You need to say, I am going to the doctor's office, let me dress properly. I am going to hospital, don't go in with a pair of shorts. Where are you going to? You're not going to the beach. Dress yourself properly so that if you have a top and a bottom, the doctor can remove it to sound you. You know, everywhere. You cannot go to church in a bathing suit. You would not do that. So don't, you know, there are certain places you go to and you just have to be careful of what you wear. You just have to be mindful of what you wear and choose correctly.
Very interesting. You know, that's one of the things about education, you know, and the independence of thinking.
I'm telling you.
That you have to be in a position to recognize the appropriateness of your dress.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I like the way you put it. They're dressed appropriately for the occasion.
Yes.
You know,
You
and
have
that
to
is-
think
that's very
before you
interesting.
act.
Yeah, very
You know, there's a saying, something I would love Dominicans to do. Now that we have internet, look up African proverbs. Just look at African proverbs. They are so interesting. They are funny. They are very true to life. Listen to one of them. The hunter who has a last arrow will not aim carelessly. Or no, will not shoot aimlessly. Voila. The hunter who has one last arrow will not shoot aimlessly.
Just hold that thought. I'm happy that you were able to hold on the caller. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Auntie Aileen. Once again,
Darling.
how can I get a copy of each of the books?
They're at the pen shop in Cork Street, down Cork Street. Opposite the
Okay.
tobacco factory.
Yes,
You know
Auntie.
the garaways where they sell paint?
Yes, Auntie.
Yes, that's where you can get it from.
Okay. Then.
There's something else that I have, T-shirts for school children for Come As You Are. And the T-shirts have the same head ties for the girls, saying, I am independent, I am creative, and the boys' T-shirts have a tie. And all the attributes are there. Yes, please.
I want to purchase.
So there you'll find it too at the
for this year.
at the thing. So Come As You Are, they can come wearing the T-shirts. I'm strong, I'm intelligent, I'm creative, I'm independent. All these are affirmative slogans for the children. I think our children need to develop that self-confidence so they can think
Aileen,
positively.
When I look at Dominica and the way we celebrate our independence, I have not seen countries in the region doing just like us. Can you help us in having a greater understanding?
Actually, we are Dominica is leading in a lot of things, you know. We lead in a lot of things, but we also lead in a lot of bad things too, negative things too. But I must say, Dominica has been a forerunner for a lot of things, thanks to the creative minds of those who have gone past and who have left certain positions. We in Guadeloupe lives its culture, but they don't have anything like we do. The only group, they have a lot of groups who dance the traditional dances, particularly the quadrille. They're hot on the quadrille, they love the quadrille. I have not seen wrong flirtation, I have not seen, maybe in Martinique I have seen a little bit of mazouk. I have not seen the wrong flirtation in Guadeloupe. I have not seen the Lancers. I have not seen, what are the other ones? Hilanto.
I haven't seen. No, they have almost like in Martin. They have almost dance like Hill and Two.
Yes, they call it. I think they call it the hot tie.
Hot tie. That's correct.
Hot tie.
And they have the belly.
Yes, but the belly is different to ours.
Yeah,
yes,
different, you know.
Their belly is done more or less. They can do it as single, but they also do it in a group, and it has a more like a quadrille formation
it's
rather
like
than a
quadrille.
free belly like we do.
Yeah, liberated like that belly pitchy.
Yes.
Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, good evening. Keen interest, and it's good to know that we can have people from time to time and who are still around, can develop the essence, and remind us of our great cultural heritage. And not only that the work that they themselves have done in keeping it alive and trying to pass it on. So I need to compliment, their lady. But I'm a bit, how I call it now, feeling left out. I'm not hearing her talking about anything of like the men cultural wear, and they just red thing around our waist and we feel big, Cecil, if it's white shirt and a black pants and a big red thread. What about that you have? What is the style of our, cultural dress and our, to make women look at us too? Because you talk about, we want
okay.
gold chain and those. Talk about
we did it. We spoke about. We didn't speak. I didn't address it as such, but we have reference to the male female. Excuse me, the male Creole wear. We have reference. For example, if you look at this picture here,
I'm listening there.
Yes, if you look at this photo illustration, You will see the gentleman and how he's dressed. He's the father. So we have brought in the men, but very subtly. You see him with that long jacket? Yes?
I didn't see. I was more listening via radio.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, more
but
listening.
you must send to buy the books so you can see.
Oh,
Then I'll show you another one.
Yeah.
Then there are many. If you look at this one here, you will see the man in the background has a red sash.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. But Cecil, can you see?
Yes, I can see it, yes.
Yeah.
So the one in the background has a red sash. Now
Yes.
look at the second picture. The man at the bar has a gilet.
Yes.
And then the father has his jacket, his red jacket.
Mm-hmm.
So although we did not dress
No jacket.
You have never seen Mr. Lawrence with his jacket?
What I normally see them is this little short thing and thing just tied there.
Well, caller,
I haven't seen. So I'll have to look.
You'll have to purchase the book.
You're sending.
You'll have to purchase the book,
Yeah.
or you to see the different varieties of the men.
You know. Okay.
But it's a gilet, a jacket, a sash.
Okay.
Or you can put a bow tie if you like with a madras bow tie or a madras tie. All those things are accepted. And if you want to walk in town with a chapeau pie, you put madras around it too. That's fine.
Okay then.
You will look nice and handsome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling. Yes. So, Aileen, you have given us so much, to ponder upon, as a people. Thank God you are 74 and you're still around with us.
She's young.
So you can give us all of that information. And I'm praying God and hope that, there are others like you on island. I should try to ask other people who are aware of other people like Aileen that we can have this kind of conversation. Because I think all what Aileen has gotten really is not just Aileen. She said she has gotten quite a lot of it from the Lakou. She has made her own research. People have helped her and to have a greater understanding as to what it is. And I think what we need to do is to really identify this kind of people like Aileen so that we can make Dominica culture remain alive.
But I want to I would like to tell her something. I didn't take her on too much, but I'll just in closing, basically, as we get towards the end. In terms of culture, Aileen.
Yes.
And you mentioned independence and culture. But I would like to just stretch it a little bit. In terms of the culture, do you think we have moved far enough independently in the culture? What would you like to see in the future?
I am asking myself, I often ask myself that question, where are we? What is our culture now? That is what I have to ask myself. There are people from the cultural, I think this is why the cultural division was created. Because Mrs. Cordero and Mr. LeBlanc, people like Alwyn, Lennox, Raymond, Poole, they started, Woodfield, I think, was there too. They started the cultural division for that objective, to maintain the traditional culture, but also to include the modern culture. But what is our modern culture at the moment? That is my difficulty. Because I'm feeling that we are moving away from the Creole culture that we used to have. I am hearing a lot of music that is influenced by outside cultures that are not typically Dominican, that they have no depth, and they're kind of very basic. It's like songs where they use this that pertain to sex all the time, and very raw, very risky. There is no subtlety like the people before. We have lost that sort of delicate way of putting things. And everything is just raw, and the effing word. I don't know where we are going with that. Because, again, this is why I said we need to speak about independence, being independent. True, we are independent to do what we want, but we have to control ourselves. We have to control our desires. We have to control the way we speak. We have to think of the children that are coming behind us. We have to be responsible when we are creating things. And that comes into song as well. We have to be creative. And everybody just seems to have this addiction to this word F and the F in. Why? Because this word is an action. And this action pertains to sex. Sex is not only physical, it has a spiritual aspect. And that is not seen at all in any sort of new compositions that we have. A lot of songs are political. Where are the humorous songs? Where are the songs we speak of respect, manners, love, particularly love? We're not seeing that anymore. So as whilst we may talk of political independence, we need to speak of personal independence with control, with respect, with responsibility. Taking charge of the younger generation. How are we preparing our younger people to face the world? Not only by using the word the effing. The people who spoke part were very much more poetic than we are today. I think people just don't, I don't know, is it a lack of education? Is it a lazy aspect in us not to research? Because the dictionary is full of words, and there's also a thesaurus, and there's also Google, when you can find synonyms and antonyms. Why must we put everything so blatant and, out for children? There's no depth of spirituality. We don't talk of love. What are our songs made of? It's only like we are reacting to sort of a primal response to the body, what the body wants, the body desires. We must have it. And that is where we need control over what we do. And that is what we need. We are independent to do, to have control, to do things that are necessary for the good of Dominica. As I said, the African proverb says, if you have one arrow, you're not going to shoot aimlessly. You have to shoot at that target that you want. What is the target that we want in Dominica? What is the target for the children? What are the objectives we have for the future generations? Is it to become lower and lower and lower? This is what I need to ask about. Some of the words are repulsive. And if we just sit silent and we don't say anything, we are just as guilty. So we should be independent to object to certain...
Just hold that thought.
Yes.
Hold that thought. Sorry about that. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, Sister Fireman again. No, you see, I listen to Radio and Children. Based on everything you say, they're making a lot of sense. But what I can really say, same way now. If the people there are supposed to be involved in this practice, not interested, obviously, that already, to me, when I watch it, well, based on everything you say, this thing fly, leave us and go a long time already. You're just trying to keep it there, really, until you trust me. And the next thing I'd like to ask a question now. Julie season, only in the independent time alone is supposed to use in this cultural outfit or other times, because well and as I just say, these people are interested, I realize, as you said, the people are interested in culture again. And if the people are supposed to be involved, not interested, that going to fly leave us long time. Up and running again, fireman running, bless up, I'm listening.
Thank you.
I don't quite understand if the people who are teaching are not interested. I'm not quite sure that I understand that point. If you could just give me an example. But you are free to wear your cultural clothes anytime. I'm encouraging people to wear their clothes anytime. I'd love to bring back the traditions that we had, because when we wore cultural, particularly the Wob duets, the porters who brought up children to be baptized wore duets. Why can't we bring that back? It doesn't take anything much more out of us to do that. It would be one way of getting a duet made. The second occasion where we wore the Wob duet was to bring up the bride's second bouquet at Roman Catholic weddings, because the first bouquet was left at the altar of the Blessed Mother. So that can be, reinstated. This can be revived. I tried to do that in the 90s, bringing up the second bouquet for the bride. It can be done. Nothing is stopping us, but we have to have that interest. Another time was at Carnival, and the Samedi Goa balls, but I don't know if they have Samedi Goa balls anymore. But we are free to wear our national dress. When we go out to Dominica to meet, out of Dominica for meetings, for conferences, there's always a little cocktail or some get-together. Wear your national dress.
Well, I am on record doing that every time I go out.
Beautiful.
Every time I've gone out,
Beautiful.
I've done that.
Yes.
My last night, whatever for activity, or the first night, when I look at my program, I have to have my national outfit, and everyone
has to ask you where you're from.
Yes.
And then you can, you promote Dominica. I don't know why this is so difficult to understand. Again, this is why I ask, what is our culture now? What type of culture do we have? Do we still have a Creole culture? But we are losing the traditions. Look at the songs that we're singing now. I mean, listen to, and we have people in the Caribbean, we have people in Dominica who have made some fantastic songs. Look at the song that they sang for all the people who had died, this Mass in the Cemetery. I mean, that's a classic. It is deep. It talks about the people who contributed to the culture. It's a classic. You can't go wrong with that song. You can bring it anywhere and people are going to appreciate it. But the song I heard on YouTube the other day, I want to this, I want to that. Please, spare us. Spare our ears. Spare our children's ears. Right. Please. Go to the dictionary. Go to the thesaurus. Go to Google. Do some work. Don't be lazy. Do some work. I didn't know I could write. I didn't like writing. I didn't like reading. But when I saw the need for it in Dominica, I decided to write the books.
Yeah, but Aileen,
yes,
you're very right in terms of the language used, but very simple language. Let's say you want to sing a song. Woy, 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 see what you do. It's a brand new shoe. Mommy say you shouldn't.
Exactly.
You're just coming. Your big foot you put in and see how you base down the list of my brand new tennis shoe song.
Yes.
I mean, this is simple song.
Simple.
But we
the
understand.
meaning at the back, only adults would know.
So we know what it is.
Yes,
but
a child would not know.
Yeah, but it is well masked.
Well constructed, exactly.
And you know that
there's
song,
creativity there.
Yeah, it was very creative.
Yes.
In the way you
so
put
you have examples in Dominica.
Yeah.
People can emulate those people.
Look
at the Gaylords. Their music was melodious.
Yeah, very nice.
They sang. What are we singing now? What are we leaving for the children?
I like the way you put it. Very simple, very deep, but very
Look at the one of Sparrow. The lizard run up if she foot and it disappear. You think I ever thought of anything else but a lizard running up the lady's foot?
Let me give you another one, Aileen. All saltfish sweet. Yeah, everybody get double meaning. Yeah, because we all like our saltfish.
Yes.
Cecil, you're the Calypso man.
But DBS ban it, eh?
all
saltfish. But DBS ban it.
But listen, I have I offered to DBS a recording of a song I made for child abuse. I don't never hear it on DBS.
You must get it for me, man.
Right.
I must look for
I
it.
made a gift. I gave it
I'll have to look. I'll have to
and
ask.
the other one is another nice song as to where we come from. We don't know where we come from. Did we come from Ghana? Did we come from Mozambique? Did we come from wherever? And but all we know that, and I speak of the character Anaye because Anaye is blamed for everything. So Anaye pote kolte Anaye pote kolte Dominico d'Afrique. You know, but it's a nice Bella. It's a good Bella song. It's sung. I got Athena Daru to sing it, and she sings very well. Gillis was with me and some other friends, and these are nice songs. Then I just did one for June Creole, which I will send to you as soon as it's done.
Let's take this call quickly. Good evening to you, caller.
Certain truth, I wasn't really saying the people are teaching not interested. I was saying the people are supposed to be involved in the culture. They're not interested.
But who are they? Who are they? People like whom?
The generation today then.
Well,
if they're not involved, they're not really interested in this type of culture, because right now we watch it, well, the generation today unruly. So not really involved too much in that. I'm saying I want to talk about the people who teach in the culture.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Can I answer that?
Yes.
Well, the Division of Culture is trying its best. It has been, and this is why the Division of Culture was created, to do just that. If the children are not interested, do we need to put it into schools? Actually, I thought the education department would have sent for some books. I have not. I don't know whether they're interested or not, but I think these books could be part of the school's curriculum, so that the children, because as Dr. Lennox Honeychurch always says, to know is to love is to preserve. And this is one reason why I wrote the first book for the Cultural Division, and then these other ones for the children. So they can be used, and they should be used in the school curriculum. But the will must be there. The education will must be there to see the importance. Our leaders seeing the importance of maintaining the culture, preserving the culture, or do we have another objective? And these are the questions that we have to ask. So I am hoping and praying that the schools will buy, and they may have even a little exam, because at the end of the book there are a few little questions that can be answered. I have asked to be answered, and there's a coloring page. So the coloring page will give the children an idea of the color codes, because a color code is there. So the information is there. But if it is taught in schools, it would be so much better. Then the children would really love it.
You ever thought of doing something with UE?
No, I have not. If UE is interested, I am prepared to do it. I'm prepared for anybody who wants to learn. I am willing to teach.
I'm sure if you were to speak with Dr. Joseph. I'm sure she would give you.
But under what would that come? Social studies?
No, not necessarily as a program, a core program for UE. Well.
Dr. Joseph, are you listening?
At least 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yes, I mean, this is what I would love to do. I'm so passionate about this whole subject.
Elaine, we now have a new thing in our curriculum. It's called the spiral curriculum.
All right.
It could be done in maths.
Okay.
It could be done in social studies. It could be done in science. It could be done in mathematics.
Okay.
The different aspects of the culture. You don't have to just stick it into social studies.
As a matter of fact, Brain.
Well, Mr. Adams, I'm going to leave this to you.
Yesterday, Mr. Adams, DBS had this lady on the connecting the dots.
Yes.
And it was amazing, the kind of information that she was giving us. She tell us there are students who do not like maths, but if you are to teach maths through culture, through dance,
exactly,
through games,
they love it.
Yes,
because we are too much into the traditional way of learning.
We have changed all that,
forget the skills part.
Yeah, so we integrate the curriculum now, so that it's not one special area. You can integrate the curriculum.
So it gives the students a greater interest in wanting to learn. Yes. So some people say, I don't like chemistry, I don't like maths, I don't like this, I don't like that. But in every one of those subjects, he said that you can actually use a skill to allow the children to learn.
Yeah. But Aileen, I must say that you're a very independent woman. So when we do our teaching, we also have to come when we're winding up. I must tell you that I find that you're independent in your thinking, very innovative. We're able to deal with it. And I found it to be very interesting that even at 72, 74,
74.
your mind is still alert. You still look.
Thank God for that.
Let me not use the word sexy. No, it's not allowed.
No.
Let's go to the telephone quickly.
No.
Good evening, caller.
Go to see.
Good evening.
Go to Google.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, caller. You're live. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You used the word anyway.
I didn't mean to use it, but she looks so good.
Nothing wrong in describing someone's beauty.
Her beauty at 74.
I mean,
come on.
When Aileen said that she's 74, I looked up at Aileen and I'm saying, Aileen, Sauka try
Yeah, she's very intelligent.
Ou plus jeune qui ça.
And culture keeps you young, eh?
Yes.
Your dancing, your innovation, and your independence does.
Yes.
It was a pleasure being with you tonight, Elaine. I enjoyed being with you.
It was a pleasure being with you. I enjoyed that very, very much. I'm so passionate about this traditional culture of ours that, it is one subject that occupies my mind totally. I forget everything else. When I'm dealing with culture, I have a little project, I'm writing something, my mind is just engrossed. And I would love to see the cultural division turn into Academy of Dance and Culture. Traditional dance and dress.
I can tell you, Aileen, that tonight's program, I said to you that I was excited.
Yes.
I got up this morning really excited about wanting to have that discussion with you. I never found out why. I only now realize why I was so excited. That you were able to bring information so that we can help preserve our own culture. And tonight you were able to lambaste what you had to lambaste, but you were able to make certain things that's also be cleared.
Yeah.
And your knowledge on the arts, the cultural arts, needs to be complemented. I was happy that you were able to talk about, and people don't realize it's a culture of the things that we ate.
Oh yes.
The things that we did.
Yes.
People tend to think it's music and dance, but the foods that we eat becomes our culture.
The way we behave, also
is our culture.
It also, very important.
So Aileen gave us that eye opener where so many persons interacted in reference to the sweets that we ate, the things that our forefathers did, how they were able to do it. It was trial and error, and when they made the error, it became a habit. So I'm sure Unbreakable would have been a trial and error. I'm sure that's what my Henry wanted to do. Today, it's on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we have forgotten, what we ourselves have established, and we're going to eat things that are not. But it didn't kill any one of us, as Aileen said earlier on.
No.
We didn't see diabetes.
Not much
in the
of
rise.
It. No.
In the rise, we didn't see hypertension in the rise. Because even after we ate that, it was natural that we would have gone out there and do some exercise. We'd go and play rounders. Aileen said she was involved in all sports.
And we walked a lot.
Cecil said, I took me in your car. So it really deterred in our growth. So some people tend to think that having 5 cars at their home is a sign of their growth.
That is something else.
It's not a sign of the growth at all.
It's not quantity, but quality.
It may show the sign of your wealth.
Quality, not
but
quantity.
The quality of your life you have to look for. And Aileen, you're really good tonight.
Thank you. I enjoyed this.
I really enjoyed this, just listening to you tonight was sufficient. I was basically in a class 101, cultural 101.
Yes.
And to hear Aileen expound on what she believes in, it's amazing. And Aileen, I really want to say thank you.
And her language was
ace.
Very, very good.
Yeah,
very good.
It was ace.
So I present you with the book.
Yes, I think Aileen, what you can maybe do, I think that I want to do it in such a way that I can actually let the world see that you are
We still have to go and
doing it
present it to you.
So
You have to arrange.
what I'm going to do, just hold on, Aileen. You can stay where you are. Stay where you are, Aileen, and I'm sure that I am able to do something. But before, let's take a call quickly. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Talking of not wearing our national wear, we are not from Africa, but every African activity you would see our Rastafarian dressed in African wear, and they are proud of wearing it. Why are we so ashamed of wearing our national wear?
Good question. Excellent question. We need to probably do a little survey with the children and see why they would not wear it, or the adults, why they would not wear it. But yeah, that is a good question. And this is what we're trying to figure out. So this is why we have all these little tools to help us to encourage the children, like the books, the T-shirts. So I hope all those listening will order their T-shirts for the children to go to school as come as you like, and for the independence celebrations, and the placemats you buy to send to your families abroad, and the books. There we are for the children, for their education. And I really hope the schools or the Ministry of Education would really include it in the school syllabus. And they're available at the paint shop. So, Mr. Joseph, I would so like to present you with those books. Yes, my two books. This one is the Warp Duet, the national dress.
Just put up the telephone 1 second.
Yes. Yes. I'm really happy to present you with these two books, the National Dress of Dominica, the Wop Duet, and the Jeep Chemise. And wherever you can use it, keep it in the archives of DBS, and wherever you can use it for information, particularly as the season is on now, to help people to dress properly. This is something else that we didn't really touch on, but dress traditionally, and this book will help you to dress traditionally. It's not a costume that you can just change it when you want, you know. Let us stick to the tradition so that the children take an example.
I know that people normally come to DBS Radio to do research on things that they really would like to find out about Dominica. I know that people, not only just about what we say as broadcasters, but also through hard copy. So you have made this available, and I know that the rest of the world is listening. And so, by virtue of this, I'm sure that if they can find you, they can purchase your book for the very near future and the long run, that they will ensure that they have piece of Dominica, to preserve Dominica and to remember Dominica, and that they will come to DBS Radio to get that kind of information that you have given to us here tonight, but more so in a hard copy form. My national dress, the Wop Duet. And what I like about this one, though, Aileen, is the fact that you could incorporate the animals.
Yes,
the falls,
that is Sarama. That is Sarama role.
It was
very good artist.
Because it reminds me of as a boy growing up, seeing the falls pecking everything that they would have seen, and you could see the motherhood in the hen. You know, that whoever did that is really good. And you can see the dog and the cat playing. You always have it. You know, but it's really showcasing our national dress. Yes. And this one with Sikie.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. I think you should copyright this name.
You know, you're not the first person who told me so.
Yes.
Somebody said to me, you but Aileen, must copyright.
Yeah, SK is a nice name, and for sure, it's a good representation of a child, coming to Dominica for the very first time, a family getting to Dominica, and to see that kind of outfit will always have a remembrance of Dominica.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you very much for these 2 books. I will be handing it tomorrow to my secretary, so we can give it to the production department, who themselves maybe might do some production out of it. And so I'm very elated for that. And I just want to say thank you.
I hope you will encourage your readers to buy the copies and also education.
I'm sure that my news editor is up at this time at the station doing his work, and I'm sure that he'll be hearing this and would make a piece of news out of this.
Beautiful.
Plus the number of Dominicans that would tune both on YouTube and Facebook would hear it and would want to do a purchase, as I said earlier on. So we'll make it our business to make sure that people do purchase.
Okay.
I will purchase, as I said to you, a shirt for the T-shirts, for the tie for my son, and maybe to make maybe a donation to a child
that would
with
be nice.
The WAP duets. But I will definitely purchase. Doesn't matter the cost. Cost is not what
beautiful.
Cost is not what matters.
My dear, money comes, money goes.
Money goes, and you make it, right? So thanks again, Aileen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very welcome, Cecil.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Don't go yet. I'm going to go across there so we could.
Oh, okay.
Thanks again so very, very, very much. Yes. Thank you so very much. Adam's your last words.
Well, what could I say? Very independent, and I enjoyed being with her and with you, Cecil. And let me say good night to all the listeners who followed us on the different platforms and on DBS itself.
Good
night.
Good
Until
night,
next
Aileen,
Sunday.
and good night to all the listeners. And thank you again for that gesture of handing us these 2 books that you produced. All right, so God
Thank
bless
you
you,
very
and
much.
let's continue doing what you're doing for Dominica and saving our beautiful country.
I'm proud of Dominica. Proud to be a Dominican.
Diplomacy can cool this crisis, but without a ceasefire in Gaza, their hands are tied, and it's not clear who is listening.